you wanna be free. The most simplest one in the world. Get yourself the better reggae music coming straight to you from the one of the most peaceful man. So many lying down on the streets, what about them with their guns in their hands? Get yourself the most free time. I preach about freedom. Preach about freedom.
We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war. We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war. We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war.
Let us look on the street as a lesson, youth. Stop violence as a lesson. You have to listen and be a man. The music we are doing is not a music for fun. We are preaching, hear it loud and clear. Hey, night and day.
Assalamu alaikum, the viewers of Concerned Citizen of South Sudan, wherever you are. Hey, Nama Kuntum, this is Concerned Citizen of South Sudan, live again on Saturday, 29th of December 2018. And actually, it is the last Saturday on 2018. Tonight, we have so many things that we are going to talk about. But first, let me go ahead here and just give you a little bit of background on what had happened in 2018. And then our main guest is going to be the young bride man, Dhor Abun. I already put it up there with the poster. A little bit of his background we will be discussing today. What have we done wrong as a nation and how we can salvage those mistakes. That's our topic today. But first, let me go ahead here and give you a little bit of incident and event that took place in 2018. The first one I have on the list here, appointment of those who were sanctioned by the United Nations and the USA by President Salva Kiir Mayardit in his government. Number two, confrontation between the Western countries, especially Troika with Kiir regime. Number three, the United Nations and European Union and the United States imposed our embargo on the government of South Sudan. Number four, South Sudan agreed to compensate for 2012 war of Pantau to pay billions of dollars for regime of NCP al-Bashir, who is having some issue right now, Matars al-Ghadab, all across Sudan. They are calling him to step aside, to step down, because he has been killing people. He jailed them. He made them went to, refuge, and he declared jihad against the people of South Sudan. Led to independence of South Sudan in 2011. We will talk about that also. Is one of the very, very important events that we have on the calendar. Also, South Sudan government object the formation of court to tackle the issue of human rights abuses during the war. But also the most important big events, Tanakul between Nairobi, Addis Ababa, Khartoum, seeking for the lasting peace in South Sudan. And also the signing of KPA, which is, I call it, Khartoum Peace Agreement. And cooperation. And government in Sudan also injected the cooperation to get some help with the oil. Right? Those are events. And also, President Kiir's refusal of former armed chief of staff Paul Malone to go and attend the burial of his beloved daughter, and many, many more. And don't forget, we, the concerned citizen of South Sudan, any South Sudanese in the social media, we have called upon all the opposition in the beginning of the year so they can unite their rank and be one people and have one agenda. And they did. But unfortunately, they scattered again. They did scatter again. Also, will the peace agreement that signed in Khartoum in December 12, 2018, will it last? Will the government will implement? Government is going to implement with those the signatory of that peace agreement, the peace agreement that Dr. Majaga got call it a Bonifish peace agreement. Will it last? But first, I welcome all of you all over the world. This is Jongkor Mayol, Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. I welcome you for joining us. I am going to have a great, bright South Sudanese panel beside my main guest today. I'm going to have Atilio Abu Yasmin from Winnipeg in Canada, also Emmanuel Ajawin from London, UK. I'm going to have Tuj Kwek in Arizona, Phoenix, and Zol Kabir also, Shabor from Arizona, all right, and many, many more. I'm going to have also a young woman, a young lady, if she's not sleeping now in Sydney, Australia, Apuk Jelmarol, she's going to join us in our program and give a perspective as well. And many, many people more, they are going to join us and they will have their perspective as well. If I did not mention your name, I apologize in advance. But first, let me go ahead and look for my main guest today, Dhor Abun, the young bride man, to come here and give us a perspective. We have more to talk about today. This is the end of the year. We are approaching the year of 2019. What have we done wrong and what do we need to do right in order to get out of all this mess and have a bright future for our country? So Dhor Abun, if you are there, I would love to see you on the screen. Go ahead and push the green button and I'll bring you live. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit of song here so we can have a little bit of joy as we are approaching this. Right? All right, let me go ahead here and get this. So we got it done. So, sorry for the dead air. But we are coming. We are coming, my dear brothers. Here we go. So get ready, Dhor Abun, so I can bring you live. Let me get some water here.
Masakin dairi ni salam pagar babi ke baguir alagala chieri ajinali mami jekine nakchok kun kan kin mai kutin jekan chibek kumoinda kin mai palman marum chapelwen wega kwadlen chichen kwara chebanting randet loy kake ku balronu kaba kwadlen chichen kwadlen chebanting randet loy kake ku wegbedom.
I want to remind our viewers, whenever you come here live, if you have echo on your phone, I recommended you to use the headphone because headphone will actually eliminate that echo so we can have a quality live video, please. So let me go ahead and see if Dhor Abun is there. Hello, Joel. Happy New Year. Oh yeah, my guest is right there. Hello, Dhor Abun. Welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. I can see you there live from Cairo, Egypt, and you are aware of our topic tonight. You can see there under the screen. We are discussing that topic and also the incidents and anything that has happened in 2018 as we move on from here, closing this chapter and moving on to 2019. Dhor Abun, if you don't mind, can you a little bit go ahead and introduce yourself before we start our discussion?
Hello, Jongkor. I just want to check if my connection is good on your side.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. First of all, let me just say Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and I just want to congratulate you on the milestone that you have achieved on the concerned citizen of South Sudan. Since we have closed the year now, we're starting to usher in the new year.
No.
And with that, I just want to welcome all your viewers. I just want to thank them for being part of concerned citizens. And hopefully, this is one of the forums that we can use to change some of the things that we see in our country. With that, I will just go ahead and introduce myself to your viewers.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Dhor Abun Aher, just like you have already written it there. I'm South Sudanese, and I come from former Northern Bargazal. And with the recent distribution of South Sudan to many states, I actually come from Lol State. I have joined the movement when I was a little kid. I'm actually a product of the SPLM. I grew up in the SPLM, and then I came to the United States, and I went to school here, and then I joined the United States Air Force, where I've served in for 7 years and honorably separated from the Air Force after my completion of my terms. And after my completion of the military service, I went to South Sudan. I spent 2 years. I went there from 2016 to 2017. Is when I came back to the United States, and I spent a little bit the whole of 2018 in the United States, and then I came to Cairo here 2 to 3 months ago for my own personal visit. And just like I said, I've grown up in the movement and been a product of South Sudan all these years, and I pretty much follow the directions and everything that go on in our country every single day. So with that, I hope that your viewers will be able to know that's my little background there.
Absolutely, Dhor Abun. Thank you so much, for that, a little bit of introduction there of yourself being, serving the country and fighting for the freedom of the people of South Sudan, and also joining the U.S. and U.S. military. I am so impressed with your education background as well. Now, Dhor Abun, so you can see our topic here tonight. We have more to talk about. The question of today, or the topic of today, what have we done wrong as a nation, and how we can salvage those mistakes to get back on the right track? That's the topic today. I want you to give our viewers your perspective, your analogy on that regard. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Jongkor. One thing that I just want to say, actually, I just want to let your viewers know that whatever the discussion we have here is not in any way a position of any political group in the country. It's just a views as a citizens, and a lot of our discussion here will not be based on propaganda or anything. It will just be on factual that many, and these are some of the things that a lot of South Sudanese are already aware of them. The direction of our country, we are all witness to it.
Correct.
So I just want to let viewers know that the discussion that we will have today will just be kind of like a self-evaluation of our country, the direction that our country has taken since CPA up to the direction that we are in now. So actually, I will just go ahead and just give you my personal perspective, and this will just be a kind of overview on what we have actually done wrong and the direction of the country. And let me actually give you 5 things that I think that we have actually got wrong, and then later on, as we go on with the discussion, a lot of things will come up.
Correct.
And this is from my own personal perspective. If you look at the CPA that Dr. John Garang actually signed with the Sudan government, it was actually one of the best peace agreement for the people of South Sudan. It was really negotiated on the principle that it has actually adequately answered what are the South Sudanese demands. And since Dr. John Garang died, we have deviated a little bit from those tenets of the discussion of the CPA. And overall, I can say it, one of the things that we have actually achieved, which is one of South Sudanese aspiration, has been the independence of South Sudan. That one, we were able to achieve it. Although we have actually some setback on some of the things that we were supposed to do with that CPA. One of the things that I would say, this is where we have gone wrong. So what actually, since we got the independence of our own country, the first thing we should have done as a country was to build the foundation of the country. And with that, actually, what I mean with the foundation of the country, one thing that you have to start with is the constitution. We would have actually done a really well thought constitution that really touched the life of South Sudanese. and kind of actually lay down the foundations for the young country. This is where we have gone wrong. And with the constitution, it would have actually stimulated the better foundations that are needed for good governance in the country. And this actually comes down to the government when you talk executive, the legislative, and then the judiciary. Those things, if we have actually done that one correctly, I think a lot of the problem that we are actually grappling now would have been actually minimized. This is where we have actually gone wrong, because if you look at the problem of South Sudan now, a lot of people always say that the problem is started with the SPLM as a political party, which is yes, but it's actually a part of the equation. The real problem was our inability to be able to have a constitution that can really lay down the groundwork was actually one of the first failures that we have made. And then the problem within the SPLM, which eventually dragged the country to the war. And with that, actually, if I just want to go on a little bit, like if you look at the constitution that we made, actually the post-CPA constitution, which was later on adopted with the independence of South Sudan, this constitution did not really spell out things that are really very important for the success of our country and young democracy. There was no any separation of power or check or balances that were built into the system. It has actually given the presidency, which is the executive, a lot of powers, which kind of actually did not really set actually like a clear distinction between the judiciary, the legislative, and then also the balance between the states and the central government. For example, the president was given all this power that he can actually fire the governors that are elected by the people at will. And then when you look at it too, the president was given a power that he was able to appoint every institution in the country. For example, like the permanent secretary in the ministries. And ideally, that should have been actually a position that would have been for somebody who has grown up in the system through many years, acquired all the trainings, acquired all the experiences, and then actually rise up through the rank to become the permanent secretary, which is Ukir Wazare in Arabic. And this is the person actually that actually provides the continuity of the institution. Like the minister, which is the political appointees, can go anytime, but this is the guy that will be left there always, so that he can actually hold that institution. So these are some of the examples that we actually did not get right. So that is actually what I mean, the building of the institution of the governance. And then the second point that I just want to add on is we failed as a country to establish what I would call the national identity when we got our independence. Jongkor, most of the nations are built on the identity. And identity is the one that can let you first feel that I'm a South Sudanese instead of being Dinka or being from a will or anywhere. It should have actually been the overall goal. For example, like I've been in Egypt here, and this is actually what I will do whenever I travel out of the country. I use the little movement that I have to learn some of the things. And when you come to Egypt here, any Egyptian citizen, whether rich, poor, or any walk of life, the first thing they would actually identify with is I'm an Egyptian. And if you actually insult Egypt, they would actually fight you, regardless of their social, economics, or political status. And this is one of the things that we did not do. We did not build a national identity that could actually bridge all this divide between many tribes that we have in South Sudan. It's true, we recognize the fact that South Sudan is actually a nation of many tribes, but it should have been our objective to actually preach things that can unite us as a country. And these things are the ones that can actually provide a framework whereby we can all identify as South Sudanese. An example of that is when you look at our country today, even in the employment system, it should have been based actually on the merits, whereby you apply for any jobs that you qualify for, and then you have to be selected based on your training and experiences, instead of being elected because you are related to me if I'm the big guy in the government. Those things, they tend actually to undermine the national identity. And then you have to promote things like national anthems, education curriculum, the culture aspect. All these things are things that you have to promote to be able to build actually a unified national identity of the country. And then your viewers can actually also maybe add on to some of these things later on when they have an opportunity. The other thing that I just want to add, that was my second point. The third thing that I just want to add, we have actually, like, we have inherited the country that was actually governed by National Islamic Front. Some of their policies were actually the injustice that we took arms to fight against. Unfortunately, when we actually became a country, we actually inherit all this mess of the NCP. Instead of working gradually to dismantle this system and build actually a system that can actually provide justice to our people, we fail on that one. And we kind of somehow embrace some of these policies that we actually fought against. The system of the NCP. Some of this has actually created a disconnection between the popular South Sudanese and the governing elites. Because the South Sudanese, when we fought, actually, they were kind of galvanized and actually unified on this historical injustice. So when the new government come in and actually perpetuate the same injustice, it actually demoralized people. And some people who might not have patience can actually pick up arms to fight that system. And that's why we have all this problem in our country today. The best thing we would have done was actually to gradually dismantle some of these policies so that we can build our own unique that is enshrined considering the history of our people. So actually, that's one of the things that we have failed to do as a country. And then the fourth one, we should be my points are actually 5. So fourth one, and then the fifth one that I will talk about. The fourth one is actually this actually kind of relate to the military. One of the things that we failed was actually to create a system where military should be subordinate to the political system.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is just like the Chinese, actually, one of the China leader one time said that power grew out of the barrel of the guns, but guns should never be allowed to control people. What he mean by that is it's good to have a military system, but you have to keep the military out of the politic and the public. That means military leadership should actually be subordinate to the political leadership. For example, in our country today, if you look at it, some commanders do not even know that the governor of the state is actually powerful than any commander in the military. In ideal system, a commissioner should even be more supreme than a military commander.
Correct.
Because the soldiers is just an arm of the government that protect the country, but they should not actually be equal to the political elites.
Their job is to protect the territorial
the territorial integrity of the country.
Yes.
And because we have allowed that, and this is actually exacerbated by the fact that military governors would be appointed to the political office without being retired from the military. And then when they are actually removed from any political force, they actually reconstituted back into the military. This has actually created a line where you do not even see the difference between the military and the political system. And our basis was we were actually to build a democratic country. And you cannot build a democratic country when you actually bring back the military to the politics. That's actually create a confusion. And this has actually kind of actually emboldened some of these generals that if they fall out of any political favors, then the only option is to go back to what they know best. And what they know best is carry arms and fight. That's why we have so much proliferation of the rebels in the country. And this is one of the things that we actually need to avoid. And it has to be done by enforcing the discipline in the military and improve the overall security situation of the country. And then the last point that I would just want to add on is actually we failed to diversify our economy when we got the independence. Like now we are going so many years dependent on only single commodity, that's oil. And when you look at South Sudan, is one of the rich countries that should be able actually to diversify its economy. The only thing that our people, particularly in the rural areas, knows best is agriculture. And some of this oil profit should have been used actually to build agricultural system that can actually be able to sustain our people in the rural area and at the same time actually generate the revenue for the young countries. Unfortunately, we did not do that. The other thing we should have done with the oil was to build the infrastructure. You cannot have any development in the country without infrastructure in terms of roads, bridges, or maybe electricity, things like that. Those are the things that are actually catalysts for any developments. But unfortunately, we squandered that chance by actually allow all our people to be employed by the government. Like now, the major employer in our country, 90% of the people is actually the government. You cannot build a country like that. Any system in the world has to be maintained by the private sector. And had we diversified our economy, people would have any other option than just opting only to be employed by the government. And then the last point that I just want to add there, we did not actually manage the post-CPA negotiation with the Khartoums. We were actually cheated as South Sudanese. We are not a good negotiators. The NCP was actually able to exploit us a lot, and they have got out a lot of things out of our own resources. For example, Jongkor, when we actually separated, I just want to give you one example now. If you look at the Britain want to move out of the EU.
Yes.
And you have actually witnessed how daunting the task of renegotiation has been now for the Britain and the EU. And the reason was Britain is actually negotiating while at the back of their mind they are subguiding their own national interests. They do not want to be exploited by the EU, and the EU do not want Britain to be able to get out so easily with so many benefits. When we left Sudan, we should have been actually steadfast on for CPA negotiations, things like border demarcations, distribution of debts that were actually incurred during the war. Unfortunately, we are now actually being forced to pay the debts that was actually used for the weapon that were actually used to kill our own people, which is actually very, very injustice to our citizens. And then when you look at the resources of Sudan, like even the pipeline that we are paying Sudan now, it was actually built on our own resources. It was built with our own money by the Chinese. But now the Sudan was able to own that one without any question, and we are actually forced now to pay for the fee to actually export our oil to Sudan. And then you look at all the Sudan resources that are all over the world. For example, the embassies that were built with our own money. We did not get anything out of it. We totally surrendered them to Sudan. Instead, we should have actually made like a good count of all these resources when we were going to negotiation with them. And then we actually said, hey, since we were one country and we are now separating, we have to divide all these resources. We have to divide the embassy's premises that were built with the money.
Or at least we can take portion of our regional of South Sudan being breakaway. Go ahead.
That's correct, yeah. And that's one thing we should have done, you know, when we got the independent. And then some of the mistakes we made adding to that now, we are actually compromising our own borders when we are not even negotiating. When we have not even finished negotiation with Sudan, like the Pantau, it should have not been actually at any South Sudanese mind to compensate Bashir for the war that we fought in Pantau. Because doing that, it actually shown them that we were actually the aggressors that actually invaded their territory when it was our own territory that they are holding hostages. And then now with the other for CPA negotiation, like the areas that were not even supposed to be disputed areas, we have actually somehow accepted them to be part of the disputed area. Areas like 14 Mile in northern Barkazal, Pantau, Kivirikenji, and all these other places. We should have not, and Abia, we should have not actually accept this. And then lastly, before we go ahead, we should have actually been very steadfast and consistent in our negotiation. You cannot actually do one thing today and then chip the goalpost tomorrow and say, hey, we will compromise on this and move on this when you are not getting anything. So in overview, when you look at all this, we did not get anything out of it, but Sudan government was able actually to exploit us, and they were able actually to get a lot of things from us just for free without any giving us any tax on those things. So with those views, I will actually give it back to you.
All right, Dhor Abun, thank you so much, for your input and your insight. Our question is two-part though, because we said that what have we done wrong and what can we do to salvage the situation. So before I yield the floor to you to answer that part of the topic, you mentioned so many, on your statement about the Constitution and how that Constitution actually is the beginning of the problem. And you mentioned that um, it wasn't just the SPLM party, the root cause of all things. They were part of it. But don't you see here, Dhor Abun, actually for the interim period that we had, the SPLM were the majority. The SPLM, they were the one that pushing for that constitution that give all the right to the president to appoint and fire and do whatever he wanted to do with ideas that the loyalists or the loyal governor, the loyalists, whatever. Don't you see that the SPLM is the one that put that constitution, other than any other South Sudanese parties or any other South Sudanese citizen, intellectual who did not have power on that time? I want you to answer that question, and then we'll move on to the next. What can we do now to salvage those mistakes? Go ahead.
Thank you, Jongkor. That is actually a very good point. I would have actually to agree with you. And that's why we say that, and that's why most of the analysts, the international community, believe that if you unite the SPLM, then you can be able actually to kind of salvage the South Sudan. It is true, all these mistakes, they actually come back to the SPLM as a political party. And one of the things that I always tell people, and this is where people have to be very careful. When you look at the SPLM, and this is the mistake that we have made, SPLM as a movement has not been able actually to transform into the political party. And the reason why I say this is when you look at the SPLM as a movement, it was not actually built on ideologies. It was built on only one single thing. It was built on the marginalization of the South Sudanese and the aspiration of the South Sudanese to liberate themselves from the larger Sudan.
Yes.
So you see the SPLM that was actually built with people from all walk of life. There were students, there were communists, there were some who were socialists, there were some who have these capitalist views, there were people who were actually peasants from the rural areas, and in all corners of South Sudan with so many ideological differences. They were able to form the movement. And the only one single thing that was able actually to unite them was the aspiration to obtain their historical injustice, to get it correct from Sudan. So actually, when we became a country, some of these differences start emerging within the system. You will see the communists, they have their own ideological thing. You see the socialists, and all this actually, it was just a matter of time, and they were actually going to fragment the movement, which was actually kind of being bundled up into one thing as a political parties. So some of these were actually adding into it. And then a lot of things, our people in the SPLM has actually forgot that when you build a country, you cannot write a constitution that you think that it will actually favor you politically. Because guess what? Tomorrow you could be out of power.
Good point.
And if you actually write a constitution that was just only specifically just to only fit your personal ambitions, then you could be at the receiving end of the same thing. And this is what happened. For example, Honorable Minister John Luke was the one in charge of this docket.
Yes.
And actually, I remember during that debate, many South Sudanese actually object to this constitution. There were so many differences, but it was actually it was actually pushed on the throat of South Sudanese without actually being scrutinized. And then unfortunately, one of the things, and this is what our country should be able to avoid going forward, help whenever you do anything that is in the national interest, involve the citizen of the country. Because if you involve them, you will actually relieve yourself from the burden of being blamed in totality. Had this constitution been actually put into the front of South Sudan to decide, it would have been better thing. They would have actually either adopted or maybe rejected, and actually being able actually to identify some of these areas that were not really consistent with our own aspiration. And it would have been actually fixed and become actually a better constitution that would actually lay down the foundation for the nation building. Unfortunately, the SPLM party was so much oblivious of all these things, and they actually pushed the constitution against the will of the South Sudanese. So actually, with your point, it's true. SPLM has to be blamed in this because they are the one actually the dominant political party in the country, and they are the one actually that has been governing the country. And it is actually upon them to lay down the foundation for the country without actually with bearing in mind that what they were doing actually the future of the country, and not just only to cater for only political or short-term political aspiration of their own people.
Yes. Great. Now, you articulate this point, you answer it correctly, and mistake happen. People go through war. Two brothers, they can have fight over something that it doesn't deserve for them to fight. They would have sat down, like what happened in South Sudan, because the SPLM party thought that, hey, we were the one that fought for this, and we should eat first, and we should be the priority, and we should be entitled. They wrote the constitution against others, and they think, oh, we're gonna be fine. This president is gonna be okay. So as long we are staying on the line, nothing is gonna harm us. And that's why John Luke and others, they push for that. Now it backfired. And that's why we see President Kiir took all the power, and he did what he did. And country went back to war, and we have all this destruction in our country. Now, Dhor Abun, how can we salvage the mistake? How they can salvage the mistake as the leaders, as intellectual, as a citizen? What need to be done? Now, since we gained independence, we only have 2 years of stability. 2 years of stability. And then the 6 years, war, fighting, killing, destruction, and nothing else. What need to be done? What can they do to correct all these mistakes? And what we need to do as an intellectual and citizen as well? Go for it.
Thank you, Jongkor, for that question. For me, actually, at this point, there's no any actually one single bullet that can actually solve the South Sudan problem.
Yes.
And if somebody think actually they have that silver bullet there, then they probably may be lying to themselves, or they haven't actually understand the extent of how we are actually entrenched into this problem. But one thing that I can say is, like, if you look at the peace agreement that we have right now, this is started actually with the one that fall in 2016. And if you actually go back now and look at the document, there were some changes, but the whole framework still remained the same. So in other words, what it's telling you is, regardless of all this, regardless of all this, at the end of the day, this is the only document that we will actually use to actually salvage our country. It's not a perfect document, and it's not actually a perfect peace, because there's no any perfect peace that you can actually negotiate. The only thing you have to do is actually to use this one and kind of actually build on it to actually set the country back to normalcy, and then give the citizen of South Sudan a chance through election to be able to bring in the government that they want. So actually, with your question, I can say that the only opportunity that we have is the current peace that we have now in the country. It's not perfect peace. There are many South Sudanese who think that it's been enforced on them. There are many arguments that it hasn't actually addressed the root cause of the problem, and so many other things. But at the end of the day, this peace is the only path, and the only way that it can be is to make it more inclusive. Bring in all this opposition, people like Thomas Cirillo, who were actually rejected, PDM, like Akim Darius and all these guys. The IGADs, thank God, they are actually working on that now, because the problem that IGAD has got into is when the IGAD, I'm trying to let in somebody here, sorry about that.
Sure.
Yeah, actually, the problem that IGAD has faced right now, they cannot actually go on with this peace without bringing in all these other opposition that are out of the peace process. And the reason is they are getting a pushback from the international community, particularly the Troika. The Troika has made it clear they will not put their money into this peace because it doesn't address the root cause of the South Sudanese problem. That one, the only way you can actually convince this international community is to persuade these other people who are out of the framework to bring them in. And that's why you have actually seen last 2 weeks they have actually approached people like Paul Malone to be part of this negotiation. And they are still talking now with the other oppositions of Thomas Cirillo, the other faction that actually left the peace process. So hopefully eventually they will be able to come back to the table. And once they come in and sort it out their things, we will have actually this peace in the country, which to me is actually a skeleton. You have to add the piece of meat to that skeleton to be able to have that big picture. And South Sudanese should understand that you cannot negotiate the country at the table through the peaceful means. Because this peace negotiation, they do not involve the citizens of South Sudan. It's just only the political elites.
Yes.
And the picture of South Sudan is when you have the normalcy in the country, we actually implement this peace. And then within the transition period, we will be able actually to identify some of the things we need as a nation, like building, like having a new constitution, working through peace and reconciliation process, resettling the refugees back to the country, and then actually have peace, that can actually unite the citizens of South Sudan so that they can come together and actually vote on the new constitutions. And then you have all these arrangements like census and all this, and then you have the election where you can have a new government. And that new government hopefully will be a government that will be elected in free and fair election by South Sudanese. And once you have that mandate with the new government, they will be actually able to freely embark on the building the nation. And with that, they can actually have leverage to mobilize the citizen and the international community through good foreign relationship to be able to have resources that can actually help to build the country and lay down the foundation that we need. And then with the time, we will be able to have a prosperity that South Sudanese has been dreaming for, seeing independent.
Thank you, Dhor Abun, for that. But you talk about this peace, you talk about this is the only hope for South Sudanese. We need to support it in order to salvage the mistake and get out of the mystery that we are in. But Dhor Abun, don't you see that right now, since the peace was signed in December 12, 2018, this year, then you see that there is something here we don't understand. Until up to date, we are nearly 4 months since the peace was signed. Does that give you a red flag? There's something going on wrong with this process?
It's true, Jongkor, I have to agree with you. There are actually a lot of problems with this peace process. And these are some that you and I and many people here has been talking about. Just like I said before, this peace is not perfect. There are many setbacks. Like right now, actually, we are already finishing this year without making any headway on one thing. But one thing that I can say, we have actually seen the party, they have started now on building the confident measures that are actually crucial to the peace, because with the brutal civil war that we had and with a lot of mistrust that we already had, it was not going to be easy task, but it still called on the commitment of our political elites and the resiliency of our citizens to be able actually to work together through some of this process and actually have a peace. Just like I said, this peace has so many setbacks. But the bigger issue is for us South Sudanese to actually accept and internalize this peace to make it our own. Let's not make it that it was a peace that was imposed on us, because once we start doing that, then we will not be able actually to go anywhere. We know we already messed up as a country. And unfortunately, since we were not able to get it on our own, we have to seek assistance from other people to help us. But at this point, we have to realize that 3 years down the road now, we have actually tried many things. We have tried fighting militarily. We have tried all this. But at the end of the day, all this actually lead to the destruction of the country. It actually exacerbates the situation more. And that's why it's very important to silence the gun. Once you silence the guns, have actually, this ceasefire actually respected. And with all the measures of the security in place, you will be able to have a space where political elites can actually come back to the country and be able actually to start working on the real crucial issues that are actually critical to the citizens. And then also it will provide an opportunity, at least for our citizens, to go back to their normal lives a little bit, where people can go to farming and do the other thing. And then in the meantime, we will be able actually to demonstrate to international community that we have peace in our country, and they will be able actually to join us and be able actually to make sure that this peace at least makes some headways that can actually be more beneficial to the South Sudanese. But actually, in nutshell, I agree with you. There are some setbacks, and this is the moment for us to still keep the pressure on our political elites to be able actually to deliver, because this peace is the only hope for South Sudanese come next year.
Right. Thank you so much, Dhor Abun. One more question, and I have two more to go as well, actually. Has South Sudanese leaders have learned their mistakes so far, that this is not the way you run the country? Because just 2 years in war and instability and crisis, have they learned that we need to take a right path from here?
That's a good question, Jongkor. While actually there's no any way that you can actually have a unified South Sudanese in the country, has been already actually polarized, to the extent that you have people right now, the voices even calling for their own ethnic country within the same country. These are some of the things that we have to work on. But overall, if you actually a kind of citizen that put your country first, if that's your thing, then I would at this point add that we have actually realized the mystery that we have brought to our own people, and we have actually to admit a mistake and actually work on it. I was actually having a problem with the peace, and I've already said this many times. The transition period of 9 months was really a very long time, and knowing our people, we always rely on rumors and all this fabrication. So within this time, it was actually a very long time that trust could be eroded even within this peace, if there's no any pressure that can be put on our citizens. But let's just be very clear. If this country continue in the war, none of us, including even the political elite, would be able actually to benefit out of it. Even some who have looted this country with $1 million now, they are not even eating them very well. They are not even comfortable with them, because we have already seen how Kenyans has actually looted our citizens. Some of their money, like people who have bought houses in Nairobi, some already lost their own houses, and you don't have any means that you can actually get them back, because we are already not trusted in the region. We are not respected. I'm now in Egypt. The way South Sudanese citizens are treated here can actually tell you that we have actually brought the shame to our country. We are not treated as people who, like any other citizens, like any South Sudanese citizen here, you can actually be mistreated, but you have no any embassy that can actually stand up for you. These are some of the things that we have realized. So our own political elites who have actually troubled the world, live in the country, they are also feeling the heat. The same thing, like economic condition now. It used to be only a common man that was only suffering, but right now the leaders themselves, they are also suffering, because some of these leaders, some of the wealth that they had, actually they acquired them through illegal means, and anything you get through illegal means without sweating for it, you squander it. Some has already squandered their wealth, and the only way that they can actually live better is to have peace in the country, so that you work within your country and actually build a better life for your family and your citizen. So yes, actually true. Most of us actually have realized our mistake, including the political elites. And I'm sure with the opportunity that we have, they will be able actually to work very hard to make sure that we build our country, because this is the only country that any South Sudanese knows. Let's say some of us, we have maybe like 2 passports, but at the end of the day, our heart is still in South Sudan.
Correct.
Even here, you still have to support your family. You still have to build where you can go back and retire later on, even if you don't want to go back to South Sudan now. So actually, it is actually incumbent upon us that we actually fix our country. And yes, I can agree that South Sudanese have already learned their mistake. And all that is going on right now actually demonstrate to us that at least some people are coming back to their senses right now. We have already seen the G10, they have gone back to South Sudan, and then with the oppositions and many other people going on a daily basis.
Yes, Dhor Abun, thank you. Now, we have seen over and over again all over the world
that isolation, it doesn't work on advance of country that has been isolated. We have seen that in Eritrea, and that's why their citizens, they are drawn in Mediterranean Sea. We have seen that in North Korea, people are dying from hunger. We have seen that with Iraq. We have seen that with countries that have been isolated, you know, when they come political arena, in the political arena. Now, on my introduction, you have heard the arm embargo, you have heard sanctions, you know, so many things. President Kiir actually have moved toward the east to avoid confrontation, to avoid all this, you know. He isolated himself, you know, from international. Even though to have just being with those Western, he just completely isolated himself. That's as PLM leaders, including President Kiir, will they realize that that was a mistake and now we need, you know, to renovate or rebuild those relationships that we destroyed with the West or with those friends country that can help rebuilding, you know, South Sudan?
With that question, actually, Jongkor, if you look at our country, like it's kind of difficult to understand whether they are pivotal to the east or actually, like, okay, it's true right now. Many of us knows actually they have grown already differences so much with the West that they are not really like we would not actually call it a healthy relationship in terms of international relationship.
Right.
But even the West, the West, I mean the East, the Chinese that we are pivotal to, we have not even been able actually to consolidate that policy that it can actually be able even to help our country or maybe help these leaders stay in power if that's what they actually want to. Many of us actually, when you look at the Chinese policy is they actually like they only deal with you on a cooperation basis. They don't care how you treat your citizens. They don't care what you do with your country. That's none of their business. All they do with you, they do the business so that they benefit and you benefit. And even in that relationship, if you go in and you're not very smart, you could be easily exploited. And we have already, and we are now actually witnesses a lot of those things in Africa. For example, Kenya. Kenya built all these railways through the loan from the China. And right now, actually, there are some talk that the Chinese could actually be forced to actually take over some of this infrastructure so that they can use it to actually recover back their money. And I have given you an example last week of Sudan Bashir. Bashir, over the years, actually, when he was having a problem with the West, he actually kind of pivotally to the East with the Chinese. And you probably know more than I do. If you go to Sudan now, a lot of things were actually built by the Chinese, the hospital, the youth sport complex, and a lot
And
of
actually,
things.
Zambia now airport is controlled by Chinese. Chinese are the one that administrate the Zambian airline, the airport, and also Angola is the same thing because they build this, but they are unable to pay back. So Chinese are controlling them now, and then they have to get the money. We don't know how long they're gonna be in control. We don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and these are some of the examples. And then with the Sudan now, they have borrowed so much from the China that they have actually so much indebted with the Chinese. And the Chinese has realized that if we keep on feeding them with these loans, they are actually insolvent. They are not even able to recover back some of their money that they have loaned to the Sudan. And then with the problem, that the Sudanese has already have, like, you can think that I will make the problem with the West. The problem with that, like the China has actually grown to be a dominant force in the global arena. And they do not need an isolation. They still have businesses with the West, with the American, the European, and all this. So if you have a problem with this country, there's no incentive for the China actually to invest so much in your country. They will be able to invest in your country if you actually diversify your policy. Like, for example, our neighbors, the Ethiopian during Meles Zenawi has actually diversified his foreign relations. He has a relationship with the West, he has a relationship with the East, and that's why they are able to benefit enormously through this process.
He was always invited by G20. Now they are no longer there, but they are inviting Rwanda. But Rwanda is progressing. Go ahead.
And yeah, and that's true. So now the Sudan Bashir, they are not getting a loan from the China. And then now the regime is already going through a lot of process. I mean, a lot of problems. They have already lost their trust with the Gulf state. the Saudi Arabia and all these other countries because of the relationship with Iran. So actually, this is my message to our political leaders in South Sudan. If you think that actually that the American policy are not good because they force the democracy on you, they actually talk about human rights, they actually dictate on how you can spend your thing, then it is a big mistake to think that you can totally ignore the West. Because why? South Sudan is a very small country. We do not really even have so much influence in our own region, leave alone at the global arena. So for me, actually, it would have been good to kind of diversify our foreign relations, keep relationship with the West, keep relationship with the Chinese, and only use your personal, your national interest as a guiding force where you can actually negotiate some of these international relationships. That's the only thing that you can actually be able to benefit enormously. Because all of these loans, for example, right now, like South Sudan, some of the loans that we have incurred, a lot of people do not know, but we have already started building up so much debt that even if we actually finish this war and we are not actually very smart to work very hard to build an economy that can actually produce revenues, we might not be able to pay back some of these loans. And might not even be able to actually cater for the aspiration of our own citizens. So these are the things that our leaders need to open their eyes. And it actually called that, in the country, you cannot build a country that can isolate its own citizens. You have to build a collective, inclusive society that can actually recognize the talents of your own citizen so that they can be able actually to build the prosperity that the government can actually enjoy. For example, like Rwanda. Rwanda is not a democratic country in the real sense. But Paul Kagame is a better dictator because why? He's actually taking care of his own citizens. He's
Correct.
building the infrastructure. He's building schools. So even if you have people within the country who are not happy with the system, they kind of actually drown within all this development that the leader are doing. And this is the path that our country can take. South Sudanese, we are very, very generous people, and we are actually kind of very humble people. If our government can actually move the needles and build some of these things that our citizen needs, they can enjoy the powers as much as they want.
Correct. Thank you. Dhor Abun, I have two more questions, and then I will let you go. I know that it's taking a little bit longer, but it's okay.
No, it's okay.
Now, we talk about, disability and all this thing and SOR, foreign relationship with South Sudan regime and the West and so forth. Now, mistake happened. Like I said from the beginning, two brothers, two sisters, they can fight. A husband and wife, they can fight. They can solve that problem at the end of the day. But the most important thing, you have to realize that I have been doing things not in a perfect way, but you know what, like a brother here mentioned, can we make a U-turn? Now, can the government or the President Kiir government reevaluate themselves? Can they reevaluate at this point?
That one actually, I would not actually have so much insight into it.
Yes.
Seeing I have never worked with South Sudan government. I know when I was in the country for 2 years, I did what a citizen would do to their country through other channels of the government that a lot of them are a little bit more sensitive that I cannot actually talk about.
Okay.
But actually, President Kiir's, and I'm sorry to say this, is a leader who has actually been surrounded by people who has their own different views, people who have their own different
objectives,
interests, and in a system like that, and I'm not saying that people are not patriotic, but sometimes, there are people who are short-sighted. They can not look at the overall big picture, Many nations in this world that actually prosper very well are people who actually think of what they can leave for their children. Like a nation like South Sudan, we should actually be able to think, if I leave tomorrow, what legacy am I leaving the country? What am I leaving our citizens? So actually, we hope that those close to the president are able to have a honest discussion with him and advise him very well. But at the end of the day, you are the father of the country. You have actually negotiated for CPA. The birth of South Sudan was actually, you are the true witness to it. And at this point, you have actually governed the country for many years. And it's about time you have to look to look beyond your legacy. What
Yes.
are you leaving the country, you know? And you want to be called a father of the nations, you have to put some of the foundations that you can be remembered with. Like we always say, the founding fathers, for example, in America, they actually built the American democracy that we have today, and they are able to be remembered through that. And you know, and this is my message maybe to the president and those around him, that you have to be mindful of your legacy. And at this point, let's call it maybe the starting point, you know, put a priest to it, said, you know, going forward from now, I have to take, you know, I have to take it like presidency say, you know, like when he took over the leadership, he said SPLM is a vehicle with no reverse gear, you know, that means it was going through the prosperity, moving toward the future. But unfortunately, that vehicle has been derailed now and has a president, like the Americans say, the buck is stopped with you. At the end of the day, South Sudanese, when President Kiir will be out of power, in future, they will not be able to say maybe Tordeng Mayol was his advisor, he has to be blamed, or Daniel Wenakot. They will still blame the president. And that's why president actually need to be the vehicle in the seat. He has to drive this car. If people advise him, he has to take the advice, but he has to do what his gut tell him. And what his gut tell him is not very difficult. He fought for this country. He knows what he was fighting for.
Yes.
And those are the things that he needs to remind himself with. He has to go back to his playbooks. Like this, when we fought as the SPLM, we have this principle that we want, the objective we want to achieve for our people. He has to go back to those objectives and look at them and see if they are 5. If he doesn't have a lot of arrow in his quiver or anything like that, he can actually achieve 1 or 2 things, and then he will have a legacy that he can actually look back later on and be proud about.
Yeah.
So actually, I cannot definitively tell you that the president will be able to sit down and reevaluate himself, but with all the mess, like, okay, there are some of the things he might not have a direct responsibility over them, but as a leader in charge, all this come back to you. So I hope that he would actually take this movement and reevaluate himself and actually do the right thing for the country.
Yes, you made a very good point, you know, Dhor Abun, or it would have, because there is an excuse all the time. President Kiir, you know, made a statement, you know, not too long ago. I appoint people, the people that I hire actually that the people that want to eat, which is, it doesn't make sense, because if you know those people, they come and eat and they just wanted to eat, why do we have to appoint them? This is the strategy that he would have taken. You are my brother. You are my colleague. We fought together. We have objective of SPLM, justice, liberty, prosperity. Now, the ball in your hand. But I will give you advice. This is what I would say when you appoint somebody. The judicial should have absolute power. So if someone is going there to become corrupt and loot and all these things, President Kiir should not intervene, because he should give them warning. You will deal with judicial, okay? But he hasn't done that. So that's what keep us thinking here. There is something here, you know, behind. Because why don't you want to give judicial power so they can prosecute those who play with the wealth of the nation? Anyway, we're gonna move forward. I have last question for you, Dhor Abun. Many South Sudanese are very skeptical about the uprising that's taking place in the neighboring country, Sudan, the north. They think if downfall of Bashir, it will not be on advantage of South Sudan. They are fear, you know, many others. You know, they think, oh, this is not going to be good. Why do you think South Sudanese are fearing? And Bashir is the one that declared jihad against them. All the instability that's happening in South Sudan is through Bashir. Bashir actually is the main advisor, you know, for the regime in Juba. We're supposed to have 2 countries with 2 systems. But now we have 2 countries with 1 system. What's your intake on that, Dhor Abun?
This is my own personal opinion. Actually, like we
Yes.
as a country, we should not actually tie our fate to a leader of another country. And when you look at the system in Sudan, this is a country that was actually built at the back of 1 leader. And this actually happened for most of the dictatorship country. The leader would come in, he would do the good thing for the 30 years. Like Bashir has actually done a lot for Sudan, but they actually forget and actually kind of put the burden of the country on their shoulder. So once they leave, then you have instability, you know, because he literally destroyed all the institution of governance when he actually ran the country as a dictator. So actually, there are some fears among South Sudanese, and some of them are legitimate. There are many people who think that if Bashir go, then the CPA would not be guarantor. It probably maybe could collapse. And then there are some within the opposition who feel that if Bashir go, then maybe they might lose their base, seeing most of them are actually now based in Sudan. And then there are some within the South Sudan government who think that if Bashir go, then probably maybe we might have an hostile regime that might be able maybe to support the rebels and kind of actually drag the country back to the war. But one thing that I just want to say, you know, like observer of Sudan policy towards South Sudan, and this is what a lot of our citizens do not understand. The policy of Sudan actually seen we separated from them as being to ensure in stable South Sudan. Because they actually appear that if South Sudan is stable, it could be a model for democracy. And if it's a model for democracy, it will actually kind of galvanize their own citizens to actually copy from their neighbors and actually remove their regime, which they see as authoritarian. And then the other point is our relationship with the former comrades in Northern Sudan. They think that if we are a stable country, then they can actually have a foundation where it can be used as a launching pad to actually fight the Sudan government. These are some of the things that they have actually have this policy that they don't want a stable South Sudan.
So
and
they
this
have
policy,
a negative side always.
yes, negative side always. And this is something that's actually reality. If you look at some of the intelligence, like the Sudan has a parallel system whereby you have the political system and then you have the intelligence, which is a very powerful institution in the country. The Sudan intelligence is so powerful that it has army of its own, it has actually its own foreign relation, it has actual resources, and it has a lot of things. And then actually they are kind of, and this is actually ironic, they actually have a good relationship with the United States. The US intelligence actually trusts them more because they actually cooperate with them in terms of counterterrorism and other things. So actually the policy of the Sudan intelligence is an unstable South Sudan.
And I want to add this, actually in Western Sudan, far west, you know, northwestern Sudan, on the northwestern Sudan and the Owainat Mountain, there are US troops there, but a lot of people don't know. That came as a cooperation between Sudan and the United States during the incident that happened in Libya, because they were worried that, you know, those of group, you know, they may slide to Sudan. That's a cooperation that between them and that border. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's true actually. Like if you look at even before, like actually in the past when Salvage was the head of intelligence, he used to go to Washington DC. Despite all these sanctions on Sudan, the intelligence was actually having a good cooperation with the Sudan government. So actually, and this is one of their things. So with the Sudan intelligence, they still have this covert operation whereby they support the militia, and then they actually, you know, do anything that can sabotage South Sudan, like the closing of the border. With all this, it was actually advised from the intelligence of Sudan. Unfortunately, it backfired on them because Sudan's are business people. And if you close the border, then that means they cannot sell their goods. And that's why it's coming back to bite the Bashir now with the same policy. Correct. So actually, as a citizen of South Sudan who is looking at the longer term goal, and we have not actually demarcated our borders, I think I would be happy with the Bashir to go, so that you have a new system, and the new system that would come in would actually kind of actually be anxious actually to build relationship with the international community, particularly the West. And if we have a good foreign relation in our country, unfortunately for the first time, the issue of South Sudan has fallen off the US agenda. Mostly, if you look at some of these sanctions, they were enforced because of the Bashir activity in South Sudan. And actually, we have actually kind of slide back. We have become reluctant. We were not actually lobbying so hard within the United States. Otherwise, the issue of border would have been actually tied to some of the conditions for the West to normalize the relationship with the Bashir. So my hope is, if this regime go and we have a new regime in Sudan, since they will be looking at the cooperative approach with the West, they will be able actually to kind of work with us to actually demarcate our borders so that we can have, you know, a defined borders with the two countries. And Bashir, we look at it, he has been in the country for 30 years. Our country is not going back. You cannot put your pet on Bashir, who is immortal human being. He can die tomorrow too, even if people think that he cannot be overthrown. And if you actually kind of tied your hope to him, then you still lose in one way or the other. So it's better for him to go now, so that we can actually have like at least another future that we can try with the whoever will come back to rule that country. And actually the Bashir Bashir political future in Sudan at this point is not going to be very long long time. With all these demonstrations that are going on, it's true. He's actually a military guy. He can use all this, but it has reached a point of no return for the Sudanese, and with no time, Bashir will eventually be forced by the pressure. And you could have maybe a fracture in the military, or the military could actually force him out of the power. So in one way or the other, Bashir will go. And with the peace, we should not be worried about it because we have owned this peace. And Bashir was not the only person who guaranteed this peace. We have the IGAD, we have so many other countries, so they can still play that constructive role.
Dhor Abun, it was good to have you on Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. Thank you so much, for being here and being articulate on your point. We touch all the corners of the program today. Thank you so much, and please stick around. If you have any point you wanted to come back and make it clear, you are more than welcome. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Jongkor, I just have to thank you and thank the concerned citizen of South Sudan and all the viewers who have joined us. What I did was just opening the debate on the dialogue on the topic, and I hope the other panel that will come in will be able to kind of actually provide a constructive feedback to the discussion we have. And I actually thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for giving me an opportunity to share my views with my fellow South Sudanese. And I pray that the coming year will be actually a year of peace in our country, and hopefully we'll be able to have a prosperous country that we can actually leave to our future generation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, my dear brothers and sisters, concerned citizens of South Sudan followers, I welcome you one more time. I am Jongkor Mayol. I'm not Jongkor. I am Jongkor Mayol. Welcome you all one more time. Those who join us from Africa, Australia, and Canada. This is your forum. You know our rules. We do not tolerate any insults. We agree to disagree. Now is the time for you to come forward and have your perspective. We talk a lot. I mentioned so many things. During 2018, what do we need to do right as we are approaching 2019? So many went wrong, but what can we do to salvage the mistake that have been committed, the crisis, the killing, yelling? What do we need to do? What our leader needs to do? So it is an opportunity for all of you to come forward and have your perspective as well. Let me go ahead and see my list. Who are those who send in their requests? I have very bright people from Canada, United States, Australia, Africa, in Egypt, and in Khartoum also we have those of Maker there. We have so many there that will join us if the network is working. I am aware that al-Bashir actually has shut down the internet, fearing from the citizen who need their right. But hopefully things will work fine. Let me go ahead and see who are those who have requested. I see that the list is full. I see that Sabata, you have requested, you are in the top of the list, and then Dr. Francis, and then Deng Deng Lual, and then I see Tongyang, and Deng Lual, and Make, and many more. Please go ahead and send in your request. Now, I'm going to go ahead and bring you Sabata, because you are in the top of the list there, and others, send in your request. This is the place for all South Sudanese. Welcome, Sabata Ariamba, to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. We can hear your perspective as well. Go ahead, Sabata.
Thank you very much, Brother Jongkor. I would want to wish you a happy new year in advance, and I also want to wish all your guests a happy new year in advance, and I wish all of you guys had a very good Christmas. Jongkor, your topic is really very beautiful. Let me paraphrase it. Your first question was, what have we done wrong? And the second one is, what have we learned out of what we have done? Now,
and how can we salvage the mistakes? Yes.
Okay, and how we can solve that? Jongkor, I want to tell you and all the viewers who are listening, that from this question, what have we done wrong? I want to separate that we to we the people of South Sudan who happen to be victims,
Yes.
and the people, the elites who are leading the country, who took the country where it is right now.
Correct.
Now, on we the people who happen to be victims, we don't have much of choices. Now, for the elites who have taken the country where it is, and the elites happen to all come from one party.
Yeah.
That is the SPLM party.
Mm.
Now, we should, by this time, we the people should realize that our country has pretty much been a unilateral kind of, a party that is run by a single, our country was run by a single party, that is the SPLM, pretty much predominant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would want to put it this way. What has the SPLM done wrong? The SPLM, their first mistake is they have actually failed to build a proper military sector that is national in character. The military sector that they harbored to us, we the people, are tribal in nature. Okay?
Yes.
And that is one of the major problems that SPLM has failed in. One. The second thing that SPLM has failed in, they took the money of the nation and they did not properly invest the money to strengthen the what is called the civil administrative structures who are providing services for the people. Because they took the money and they enriched themselves with the money. They did not invest the money on educational programs like how the other leaders do. You see, these two things have pretty much held us where we are today. There could be some other factors, but I don't have much knowledge on. So I would want to put it this way, that basically we, who are the people, we suffered the failures of the SPLM policies, okay? And have we, or has there been any lessons that has been learned out of, yes, out of all this? I also, Sabata, want to say no. Why am I saying no? I am saying no because when you look at the outcome of the revitalized peace agreement that has already been signed, you will realize that power has been handed back to the same party that has brought us where we are. Okay? When you look at the terms have pretty much given more power to the SPLM, and there is no doubt for this. I don't have to go in details again explaining. All the terms are out there. So we tend to look like people who have taken a ride in a bus, and the bus is written SPLM, and we, the people of South Sudan, are there, and the SPLM leadership with Kir are in the driving seat, and they did not drive the bus well, toppled the bus, many people died, international community or regional communities came with their towing, put the bus back, and gave the key back to the same leader. What are we learning?
That's a good.
Yes, in summary, this is it. What are we learning? Now, if you realize very well, it is now we the people, we the people who are now being taken into the ride, who are now fighting back and forth with each other, even on the forum every time and then. We are a divided community. There are people who are saying, Yahi Mamumkin, we cannot have the power be given to the same people who have toppled us down. You are having people who are saying, no, it's okay. Let us just go for another chance and see what's going to happen. And every time and then you're having people going back and forth every time and then arguing this concept. You see, Brother Jongkor, as far as what should be done is concerned.
Yes.
Yes. As far as what should be done is concerned, if, and when I'm saying if, you may realize that I'm running away, I'm running off maybe concrete solutions. If people were united, if the people of South Sudan were united, it will be up to the people of South Sudan to stand up like the Sudanese who are in the north right now, to stand up like the Tunisians, to stand up like the Egyptians, to stand up like all the people we have learned in history who have decided to send their leaders out, or the party that ruled them out by just becoming engaging in what is called civil disobedience. But unfortunately, we are divided, Jongkor. We are divided so much that there are people who are okay with the status quo. Okay, you know, in every corrupted government, there are beneficiaries. And when the beneficiaries become so many, they will try to make the status quo look good. And that is problematic, you see. Okay, even though it's very hard to even understand who is not benefiting under this government. I'm kind of getting confused sometimes. I'm asking myself again and again, who is benefiting under this government? Who are getting adequate training, education? Who are getting adequate services in their Mafimanatic Bitam? Who? I'm not seeing any. Other than what I am listening is, Ya Jama, let us go for peace. Alhamdulillah, the guns are silent. And it looks like we are just going to go in and everybody tracks to their tribal lines. And then people live a very simple life. You don't expect any service from the government. You go and bring your woods from the bush, cook, shufta kef, ita kan betamshi hammam fi khor, taal, ita btebni hat, bitak sagayir kida, iyal bitak ma bamshi madrasa, is okay. Ita kan ayan, wala iyal bitak ayan, you go and get some herbs, kwes, hasap, to treat them. I don't know if that is the kind of life that people are ready for, because what I know is with governments is, as people, you expect services with a government where you can stand so that you can also improve or better your conditions. You want to make sure, Al Assassino, the government preserves enough resources from the resources bita doula عشان بيبني مدرسة لعيال بتاعك عشان يتعلموا كويس عشان ذاته believe أحسن منك. You want to make sure, Al Assassino, the government out of these resources يبني لكم roads عشان انت can be a business. You use the network of these roads to take your products. ألتا زرع في حاجة في محل زرع بتاعك ده أمشي بيو بقى في سوق كان في منطقة تاني ولا حاجة بشكل كده. But the question here that I'm always asking myself is, is the government going to play their role? Are they going to come up? They have failed all this time. This time, is there going to be some miracles? These are things that I am struggling with sometimes in understanding, and it's very hard to mobilize people because people are divided, our communities are divided, others are feeling okay with the status quo, Jongkor. So basically all eyes...
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's about would say it looks like we have come into a standstill. So just the fact that we are now going inside and it is now presumed that guns are going to be silent, this does not mean, or this is not an assurance, Al Assassino, we are going to start progressing, neither economically, okay, nor improved security, Al Assassino. We are not going to be seeing some actions with an unknown gunmen. There are no guarantees to that. But what we know is there are guns that are silent. Are these the only expectations that we, the people of South Sudan, are looking for? Just silence of guns? Can I imagine? We fought movement with SPLM, and SPLM had their visions, okay? And we, through referendum, we became an independent country. Why did we become an independent country? Just so that we will have absence of war. While we become an independent country, because we felt, Al Assassino, when we become an independent country, we manage our own resources, we will improve our living conditions.
To have justice,
because we will
liberty, prosperity. Three things. That's why we achieve independence. Justice, liberty, prosperity.
Justice, liberty, prosperity. Prosperity, economically, we will be improving our living conditions. The elements be improve our living conditions are the ones that I have mentioned. Gibel, Al Assassino, fi investment, bi'amulu fi education, fi shaware, mustashfayat, hajat bashikil zere. But we are not seeing it. We have failed. Justice, we are not even seeing it. كده شوف حاجة ال SPLM عملوا policies بتاعهم resulted into many people dying. The same people are now given power. وينو justice. unknown gunmen بيقتل فوق ناس 30 صباح. وينو justice. You see, liberty ده ما في. انت هسه بس كان ثلاثة في حاجة ده في جوبا هناك كويس وبس ونسوا حاجة كده قال يا اخي والله ما كويس ولا وير ساكت كلمة ده ولا بيدخلوا في محل ما. So you don't expect liberty في محل. So if you see these three things, it looks like we have not achieved it. After شكل ده كله and we got
the reason Sabata I mentioned it, this has been core of my show. This has been core of my advocacy. And also, these three words, justice, liberty, prosperity, we sing them all the time in the national anthem of South Sudan. For justice, liberty, and prosperity. Always. This is what we're all about for 22 years fighting the North. It was about liberty, justice, prosperity. Those are the things that we're fighting for. Now, Sabata, I'm going to move ahead and ask you a question here. You detailed out, you articulate points, and you talk about, yes, you don't see any change that's going to happen. But you talk about the uprising in the North. Unless we have to come to our senses and gather together and do this, that's what is going to bring change. How we can unite, because you talk about how we are dividing through, tribal line. How we here, as young, intellectual, others, how we can use this an opportunity to bring these people together so we can have that unity. And then if we have that unity, we'll be able to confront those leaders who don't care about the justice, liberty, prosperity. That's my last question for you, my brother.
Very good. Very good. I, Sabata, think this unity is going to take a long time and it will start. It has to start with South Sudanese who are in diaspora. South Sudanese who are in Canada, who are in Australia, who are living in an atmosphere where there is no policies of dividing people along ethnicities. And in that kind of an atmosphere, we can always unite under the identity of South Sudanese. And as we unite under identity of South Sudanese, we should not waste time. Nas bitana yakhushu fi madaris, yakhushu fi talim. And then the question now becomes here is, how do we influence our brothers and sisters who are back home to kind of understand the nature of education that we are living in? Taban nas kan barra, uyun bitam biafta in so many things. Now, how do we open the eyes of the people in South Sudan? Unless some of us also go and pretty much dominate ministries of education and inject certain in syllabuses zatu, we institute ideas al bukra bat bukra bikhalli jamade uyunum biafta ze bitana. So when the number of people becomes so many, the leaders eventually will be forced to change, or the people will drive the leaders out. And when they install some leadership, new leadership, it will be leadership who will eventually go with the people's agenda. This is now how you are transforming the country from power to elites to power to the people. And it will have to start with the diaspora in our situation.
Brother Sabata Ariamba, thank you so much for coming to Concerned Citizens of South Sudan. Your point, well said, articulate. Thank you, and please stick around. If you have another point that you want to add later, we may bring you back. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you.
That was Sabata Ariamba. He made a very good point right there. So now, yes, of course, we need to be together and we need to use that opportunity, and then we will be able to influence our people back home, because it's not going to happen if we are just looking like that and we have been divided through ethnic line. I'm going to go ahead here on my list and see who is next. Yes, I do see that Dr. Francis Malual is next online, and then after that I have Deng Lual, and then after Deng Lual I'm going to have Deng Akol, and after Deng Akol I have Maker, I have Emmanuel Ajawin, I have Baltur. I have so many people on the list here based according to the order that it was received. So I'm going to go ahead and call you now, Dr. Francis. This is your opportunity to go ahead and give your perspective. Happy New Year, sir.
Yeah, the same to you, and Happy New Year for everybody. Yeah, Jongkor, I think your guest actually has touched a lot of things, and he covered everything within actually what went wrong. Okay. But for me, I would talk rather generally. So for us, in any country that is actually is under establishment, So the South Sudan government should have something like a national strategy, and in this national strategy, actually, they should have spelled out clearly what is the objective that they want to achieve, and what is the vision and the mission that they want to achieve. And when you have a very clear objective and vision and missions, there you could be able to develop some policy, and then the implementation can come. And from time to time, actually, you would be able to evaluate the kind of objective that you have put in place, and how far have you managed to achieve that objective, and what was the problem, and you learn across the line. But this one we don't have in South Sudan. So if you go right now into Google and you try to search what are the strategy or even the plan for the country, you will not get. But you will get the plan for NGOs. The NGOs, they have a very clear plan. And this is the problem of our government. For example, in 2008, the GDP of South Sudan, for example, was 1,250. Okay, and this one was equivalent to Rwanda, which is the highest developing country right now in
That
Africa.
was the very healthy growth right there.
Yeah, that was a very healthy growth. In term, we are Rwanda, actually, we have the same growth, we have the same population, and therefore, but when we move from 2008 and we are going along, we see the Rwanda is moving ahead, while our country actually is not going anywhere. Why? Because actually we don't have any objective. So at that time, when we have a lot of resources, even the authority within the government, actually, because the oil price was very high and there is a lot of revenue that was coming from the oil, nobody actually was interested in non-oil revenue. So the non-oil revenue were given to those people who are the officers, the those who are working in the customs, who are taking those money and put them in their package, actually, even though that money would have been saved and used for another thing. So when you don't have a very clear objective, you will not have any infrastructure. So nobody think about the infrastructure development, and also nobody thinks about the building of institutions like the government institution. All of them, they were weak. When you go to the public service, actually, there is no. You get like, for example, the minister is new, and then the secretary is new. So who actually know anything about the ministry? Nobody. All of them, they are new and they were appointed at the same time, and therefore you will see everybody just coming to start from the beginning. So this is the problem that we have in South Sudan.
It's just
This is one thing.
salaries and allowances.
Yeah, so you have nothing. You just come and occupy the office, and there is no any objective, because actually when you are appointed, there is no any clear plan for that in institutions. You go to the external affairs, they don't have any clear policy. So, and that's why you see whether they want going to be in the Western camp or the Eastern camps. When you go to the Ministry of Health also, there is no any clear plan. So it is all mess up. You go to the army also, there is no any clear plan, there is no any clear objective. So when you don't put a plan in place, so you guarantee what you will get is a failure. And this is exactly what we get
Yes,
right
now,
now.
Dr. Francis, so we can move ahead and save time. What need to be done to salvage the mistake that have taken place since all this started?
Yeah, what we need going to do, because actually it was a monopoly, so it was only, the country was run by one party, and they exclude all the other political party. So we need going to sit down all the South Sudanese, all the political party, to have a written development strategic plan. So what do we want to achieve in our country? So when we put that one in place, and then we see who are the people who have the capacity to implement the plan that we have right now. So we will have a plan across everything, if it is in the army, in the economy, in the institution, everything. And then we need to look into the people who will translate this objective into a reality and to implement that one. And that one we don't have. This is the problem. So we need to choose the people who have the capacity, so that they can translate this objective into actions. Without that one, it will become very difficult for us to move anywhere. And we need to to, for example, the selection should be very clear and fair so that you give those people who are competent to handle the job so that we can move a little bit ahead. But if we are going to implement the same system where we just appoint our relative without any qualification, you may have a plan, but the translation also you will stuck there because these people, if they don't have the capacity to transfer that plan, is going to be another problem.
Thank you, Dr. Francis. Dr. Francis Jajama, you guys have listened to him. We need a strategic plan. South Sudanese from walk of life, political parties need to sit down and have a strategic plan and execute that plan. That's how the country is going to come out of the crisis. Dr. Francis, thank you so much for joining us, for coming to concern Citizens of South Sudan. Please stick around. If you have any point, you may send in a request back, and I can bring you actually, to make another point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let me go ahead and see the next person in line here. Deng Deng Lual, I am calling you right now. Go ahead and answer. It is your turn, to your opportunity. If you are there, go ahead and answer that. Hopefully, the network will cooperate. I don't know what is your location, but I am calling you right now. Deng Deng Lual. Right? Go ahead and do this. Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, we can see you, we hear you.
Ah,
And if you have listened from me from the beginning, because to avoid that echo, if you have a headphone, Deng Deng Lual, you may use that headphone to avoid the echo that's happening. All right?
I'm not getting you.
I'm saying that because I hear the
I'm not
television.
getting you.
The television is too loud too, Deng Deng. Where you're sitting, the television is too loud. You need to turn all this thing off. All right? Now,
Yes.
go ahead with your point. Go ahead with your point, Deng.
Hello.
So it looked like we have actually a network problem, Deng Deng. You may reboot your network, and then I can bring you back because now you are ready. So stick around there. I'm gonna go ahead and look for the next here. Deng call. I'm calling you. Go ahead and answer that to come on and hear your perspective as well. So Deng call. I'm calling you right now. Go ahead and answer that. Deng call. I'm calling you. Jama, we need to move up. Yes, Makir, I think you are on the line. The next person actually after Denga call is going to be Emmanuel. Okay, Denga call declined. It looks like network is not working either for him. Let me go ahead here and call Emmanuel Ajawin. Emmanuel Ajawin, is your turn now.
Hey, Merry Christmas, Jongkor.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Then I hope there's one day this year. What is the secret with the red, what is the secret with the red heart?
Red is just a romantic revolutionary heart. That's all.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So, Emmanuel
How you
Ajawin,
doing?
welcome to Concern Citizens
Yes.
of South Sudan. It's good to see you there, brother. And we want to hear
Yeah.
perspective. We have been speaking a lot. We said so many things. It looked like
Yes.
there is an echo. My voice repeat itself. I don't know. You may go ahead and
I'll
place your
I
headphones
could
on there.
have the echo. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Clear?
very clear. So now
Okay.
the floor is yours.
No, thank you, Jongkor,
Mhm.
and let me also congratulate your guest. I don't know the pronunciation
Dhor
is Dior
Abun.
or Dhor Abun.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to congratulate our brother Dhor Abun. He is really a very articulate gentleman, and I like the way he puts his ideas and the way his ideas are flowing. Indeed, the questions that you have posed, which is what has gone wrong in our country since the independence, which is just almost we're going 7 years, 8 years.
Put the volume up a little bit.
Okay, it's almost.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Now, yeah, we hear you.
Okay. So what I'm saying, basically, your question is quite pertinent as to what has gone wrong in our country. We fought so much for an independent Republic of South Sudan, where we hoped that all our aspirations and dreams will come to realization. So what went wrong? And he mentioned important issues, and I think these are the issues we should actually be focusing our discussions. And I hope your guests who come and take the floor, they should really gear towards that. He talked substantively on the issue of the lack of proper constitution. If you look from 2011 up to now, 7 years, there's not really a permanent constitution in the country. We're being run on a transitional constitution. The second issue which he mentioned, which is also important, is the lack of we failed to develop a national army in character and in composition. And I'll pick up from there. Before South Sudan became independent, Jongkor, you remember in October 2010 in Juba, there was something called all parties conference in Juba. All the political forces in the country, they converge in Juba under the leadership of President Kiir at that time. All of the political forces and the military wings. People agreed that once now we're going to a referendum, we have to put our voice together to vote for independent Republic of South Sudan. But once the country becomes independent, there are a roadmap, a clear roadmap that we need to embark on. One of the resolutions was first to form a government of national unity composed of all the political forces, okay, for a period of 4 years, interim period. The other issue that they talked about is the holding of a constitutional conference that need to be held. This constitutional conference will determine the parameters, of the permanent constitution for the Republic of South Sudan. This was what was agreed. However, people were surprised when our country became independent. President Kiir deviated from this. He went ahead and formed a government that was exclusively from his party SPLM. So you had a chance, an opportunity where the country would have had a proper roadmap of how to run the new country. Now, President blew it up. President Kiir blew the opportunity up. The SPLM, even those of the SPLM members who are in opposition today, there were the strong voices around Kiir at that time advocating for a one-party system. They wanted SPLM to be the only party ruling the country. So as a result, what happened? You start having internal contradictions within the SPLM because there was no any other party that could oppose SPLM from outside. There was no real opposition per se. So as a result, the country went to the crisis where we are in today.
Yeah, so Emmanuel, I hope you can raise your voice.
Okay, can you hear me like this now? I don't know. So what the kid? Okay, is the volume is up to the maximum. So what I'm trying to say is, you had a party SPLM that has blew the chance for having a broader government of national unity that would have encompassed all the political forces for a set of interim period. They would have had also a constitutional conference, Mu'tamar Dasturi, to put the parameters for the permanent constitution. Then after that, you will have election. This opportunity, of course, was thrown because SPLM wanted to be the only party in the country. The other issue that what went wrong is also the corruption and the level of corruption in the country. Our country, when we became independent, South Sudan almost received no less than 38 billion US dollars. This is from the oil, directly from the oil revenue. This was not put into good use. It was actually becoming a charity shop. President and those who are in the SPLM, we know the stories very well, they start dashing the money, giving the billions of dollars, and until the president has to write a letter to 75 members, telling them to return the money. So all the coffers and all the money that was supposed to go to the infrastructure and development of our country went to the pockets of the people. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about is the national army. Jongkor, this has been always very important. I've been always saying this. The problems of African countries since their independence is the army. You had coups and coups and coups in the period of 1960s, 70s, and 80s. Why? Because there have never been a clear professionalizations of the army in Africa. Army always started intervening in politics. You could have the example of Nigeria. I don't know how many coups they had. In South Sudan, it was hoped that SPLA would have been a separate, army that a national army, competent national army, that does not belong to any party. But as we speak today, a lot of the SPLM cadres, they're actually members of the SPLA, and they're still even active commanders. They're just on the reserves. So there has never been a separation between the SSSDF now, as they call it, and the SPLM as a party. And this is why precisely when Ritoriak and Salva Kiir disagreed, it was understandable that their political differences could actually be translated straight away into the military confrontation, because the army is not professional. So what we need to do in order to avoid all this is to have a permanent constitution. Okay, a permanent constitution that within it has the Bill of Rights and the protection of especially the freedom of expression, be it individual or...
Go ahead. Look like somebody called Emmanuel. Hopefully he will resume and finish his thought. Let me go ahead and do this. Go ahead and resend me, and then I'll bring you back to finish your thought. I saw your request, Baltur, and I saw your request, Guat, also. So let me go ahead and bring back Emmanuel Ajawin so he can finish his thought here. So, okay, Emmanuel, we are...
Yeah, my apologies. Someone is trying to call me. They're always calling in the wrong time.
I know. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is what I'm trying to say, that we don't have a national army. In order for us to really safeguard a democracy in our country, there's a need for us to have a national professional army that has the diversity of all Southern Sudanese. What you have now is what I call a feudal army. They're not even a militia. They're actually feudal armies that their loyalties are only to the generals. There's no clear commands. There's a lot of breakdown of the command chain of commands. If you look at the incident, for example, that took place last week in around Juba, is it Lobanok, where the GMAC or the citizen officials were completely undressed, and then you wonder, in a country like our country, that you will think that the soldiers or the officers in concern, especially national security, they have knowledge of how the international treaties and norms work and how to respect, peacekeepers. To undress them, the question becomes, who has been giving the command? So they will tell you, well, the government will investigate. How can you investigate yourself? It's either there's a breakdown of the command, that you have no full control of your forces, or the government is the one doing it. So what we are saying, to avoid this in the future, you need a professional army. Now, a professional army that has actually, as the speaker has spoken clearly, an army has to be subordinate to the political wing. That is why Dr. John invented SPLM, SPLA. SPLM comes before SPLA. This is an emphasis, not by coincidence. This is to emphasize that the political organization, the political wing of the movement is, the supreme. Military is only subordinate to the political organization. Unless we do that in our country, the Minister of Defense in most of the countries, even in the United States, are civilians. It's only the chief of staff that comes from the army. So this is what we need to do. We need to professionalize our army. What have we learned? In my opinion, Jongkor, and my humble opinion, our guys in Juba, they have not learned anything. Okay, if you look now at how the so-called revitalized agreement is tailed, okay, the agreement is bringing back those who brought crisis in the country in 2013. Those leaders who are responsible for the crisis are now being reinstated in the country. Now, if you look at democratic transformation in the country, as we speak today, there's no really goodwill. The prisons in Juba are still full of detainees. You could name, and then the list is endless. Why are they not released until today? So it shows you that the guys in Juba are not genuine for democratic transformation in our country, and they have never learned from the experience. Even the national army that was supposed to build within the 8-month interim period, we are going now to the 4th month of the interim period, and there's a likelihood that there will be no national army being built. What you're going to have is integration and absorption of some so-called rebels into the so-called Kir feudal army, and then the loyalty of these people who are being absorbed again is not going to be for the country. They're going to be individual loyalties, and this is the problem we have so in the nutshell, the country needs new leadership. Dr. Francis gave an example of Rwanda. Why Rwanda is succeeding is not because Rwandans are genius, no, because Rwandans have a very competent leader, Paul Kagame, he goes from a village to a village every month to go and listen to their problems and resolve it there, you know, and he will do a follow-up to it. Kir, he only stays in Juba. So Sudan is to Kir is Juba. We didn't see Kir visiting Awil. We have never seen him going to Malakal. We have never seen him going to even Nasser. Kir only stays in Juba, you know. How are you going to run a country that you have not even have the privy to go and even visit the villages and hear the local folks talking about their problems and fears, you know? Unless this leadership change, and I don't think it can change, you need a new leadership in the country.
Well,
Yeah.
Emmanuel Ajawin, thank you so much, you know, for your perspective, my brother. Go ahead and stay there.
Thank you.
Stick around. If you wanted to jump in later, you are highly welcome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Jongkor. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. I'm still going through my list, my dear brothers and sisters. Let me go ahead and see who is next. Dhor Aher, Aaron, is your turn. I'm calling you right now. Yeah, Jamal, send in your request, and I will call you as well. I'm calling you Baltur. I don't know. So Baltur, actually, I'm calling you, but it said decline for some reason. Let me try one more time. I don't know, maybe the network is not okay, the area that you are sitting in. All right, now you work. So welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan, Baltur. And I'm sorry if I said your name wrong.
Thank you so much, Jongkor and Chol Bol Aher. So I'm Boltur. Just a
Boltur.
nickname. Yeah.
Boltur Aher. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good
Yeah.
to see you.
Yeah.
Go ahead with your perspective.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really happy with your moderation. This is a very good forum for each and every South Sudanese at least to listen to. This is my first time, and I really appreciate your moderation. Thank you so much, and I also appreciate the previous speakers, especially Dhor. Dhor is my elder brother, and I listened to him, and I was really impressed with most of the things that he has just mentioned, and the other speakers also were just impressed the same things. But let me just take you back, Jongkor, to 2005. And see where the party went wrong, because we, the citizens of South Sudan, have done nothing wrong. We are submissive. We are listening to our leaders, but the party has done something wrong. From 2005, it started with the phase one. The phase one of the problem in this country started with the people like Majanga God, Lam, Pagan, and all those individuals that you know. These people were responsible for corruption and sporadic impunity in those years, and there was no accountability from that time until 2013, when the phase one was changed by a phase two. Phase two was Tilar and Alewa Yeng. They come back and with a revenge mission that the people who expelled them from the party must give way for them so that they replace them. And then they become phase two of the problem of South Sudan. Phase two, now responsible for the civil war in the country that we are in at the moment. These are the people who just advise the president to lay off the whole cabinet and appoint the new cabinet. And then this is where the war started. The first two was made up of Tilar, Leo, Malong, and some of their colleagues. And then within short time, we had the phase three. Phase three was Jing Council of Elders. They created 28 states. And then 28 states, 32 states. These are the states that the president himself have not visited. And then things went wrong from there. The people of South Sudan still remain submissive. They did nothing wrong. They waited for their leaders in order for them to bring peace. And there was no peace. Phase three now was also replaced by Jing Council of Elders. I mean by the current system. The current system is the phase four now, the national security, which is now the phase four of the country at the movement. There is nothing that you can do. Phase four is doing nothing but just a corruption in a different phase, that is Nile Pet. That's why you see individuals, only few people, like 4 people, richer than the country itself. And there is nothing going on. The president is not doing anything. And if you look at all this from phase 1 to phase 4, all of them are the same members of the same political party, the SPLM. And now, Jongkor, at the present time, we are going to the new year. Coming, we are going to have a transitional government of national unity made up of the same individual in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Coming back now to form the government of national unity. And then we expect something different to come out of those individuals. There is nothing new. I'm sure the oil resources are not enough to maintain this bloated government that is going to be formed in few months' time. And when this money is not enough, we are going to see another political cannibalism. They are going to start fighting one another. And the victim of the war are going to be the same Citizen of South Sudan. So what difference are these people making? I'm sure there is nothing that we are going to see, because you've just raised a question, how are we going to get out of this? There is no way that we are going to get out of this until this party is gone. Our problem here is SPLM. We, citizens of South Sudan, have done nothing wrong. We've been submissive all this time. We've been listening to our political parties, and all they do is to bring war to us. I think we have no solution. We have tried our best, at least, to listen to our people, to give them the best of our ability, to see whether they will change, but they will not change. And I think the problem is the party. This party has to go. By all means, the SPLM has to go. And this is the only way that we can live in peace. It is not one individual. It is not President Kiir. It is not one person. It is the party itself. The SPLM and all the cadres under this party must go. And I just want to be precise. I don't want to talk a lot. Thank you so much.
Well, Bull, I really appreciate you. I like the idea that how you break it down, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and how they are going back now to do the same thing. You know what? I really, really, really appreciate you, for coming on. It was really, really clear and very articulate. But my question is, Bull, now the SPLM will become like dominant party in the country. And like you said from the beginning, South Sudanese are very submission, to the leaders. And that's why we are in trouble, because a leader, even though back home there, we shift them and all these things, but it doesn't matter, it's whatever, they just respect him just for being, a chief or something like that. But how we are going to get rid of those now, the SPLM party, because they have poisoned the youth, they have poisoned everybody in the country. That's my last question for you before I let you go.
Thank you, Jongkor. I think even if I give you the same question, you will not have a right answer for that, because, at the moment, the SPLM is controlling everything. In every aspect of our life, both being economically, militarily, and politically, they are dominant everywhere. And then there is a single question that I can give to it, but it is what I can say. You people who are now in abroad, you have learned from stable democracies in the West, in US, in Australia, other part of the world. You are agent of change in our country. I know not all of you are interested in politics, and not all of you are interested to bring meaningful change. But I believe if the South Sudanese in the diaspora could just come together, come back during this transitional period, and form a formidable political party ready to challenge the SPLM, then you will see some changes. Because my greatest fear is that should this peace break again in 2019, there is going to be a serious massacre. And I'm sorry to say that, because if this peace break, there is going to be a serious revenge mission. If Kiir goes through coup or anything, I don't know, there is going to be a serious negative repercussions on our citizens, either in Juba or in other part of the world, because of South Sudan. Jongkor, I don't know whether you know that the most insecure person in the country at the moment, I'm sorry to say, the most insecure person in the country is a Dinka man. I cannot work in Upper Nile. I cannot work in Equatoria. I can only work in Barakazal. What will happen if this regime goes and I'm in Juba? The chances of me traveling all the way from Juba to my hometown in Awil will be very limited. I might not survive on my way going back home. And here is a political party not addressing the issues of the problem. They don't know even, should something happen tonight in Juba, what will be the future of our citizens? They do not understand that. All they do is only to please themselves, self-aggrandizement. So for us to have a stable South Sudan, my advice is just only the people in diaspora and other South Sudanese in the country at this time to use this peace as a launchpad for a political party at this time. If it can work, I think the political party that is going to be formed, made up of people in diaspora, South Sudanese at home, and other South Sudanese also who are not happy with the SPLM. If they can form a political party ready to challenge the SPLM, we will see change. It might not be easy, like we can form a political party today and then we overthrow the SPLM. There will be elections. And before the election, we are going to have a new constitution We are going to have a census. We are going to have a registration of political parties. It is going to be a process that might take 3-5 years in order for us to see a meaningful change. So the best way forward is to form a political party that is ready to accept our diversity, regardless of our social status, regardless of our tribes, regardless of our education background. This political party might bring change. Otherwise, military overthrow of the current government is not a solution. I don't agree with that, because our country might recede into anarchy, just like Somalia and other countries. Because look at the way things are now. Today in South Sudan, everybody is a politician. It's not because people like politics. It's when the government bureaucracy is broke down. There is nothing going on, and then the politics will remain the only lifeline in the country.
Yes.
So everybody become a politician because you want to get something out of politics. Look at Congo. What happened in Congo when the country involved in a civil war and there was nothing working? Everybody was trying at least to be a musician, because it was only music in Congo that was working.
Correct.
There is no way that you can get anything. Unless you become a musician, that's why you can get money. The same thing in South Sudan. Everybody wants to be a politician because politics is the lifeline at the moment. So formation of new political party comprising of all South Sudanese will bring change to our country. And I'm sorry, this is we are in wrong time. We are a wasted generation. Our generation is not lucky. We are born at the war time. We grew up at the war time. And we have not enjoyed anything just because of only one party, a party that has not done anything to our people. We have offered our lives during the war, during the years of struggle. We have done a lot. We have contributed to the party. In order for SPLM to exist, it was the will of the citizens that have not been given attention during this period from 2005 up to the present moment. The president has not done anything. If you go to my village, if you can see a borehole, that borehole was dug by NGO, not by the government. Even the feeder roads were just constructed by the NGOs. The government has not done anything. All they can do is for us just to be part of the war. The young people are taken to war to go and fight on behalf of the SPLM, a party that has not done anything to us. I think time has come for us. We have to use this period at least to form a political party to get rid of this of SPLM. It might not be 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. It will take time, but I'm sure it's going to work.
Bol Aher, thank you so much for coming to our show and having your perspective. I like the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, the way you articulate point. Of course, you know, your point is well said, my brother. Thank you so much. And that's why we need to have that conversation, because through the conversation, we are going to discover the talent and South Sudanese with good perspective and ideology, because the unity should be through ideals, not through clans, not through tribes, not through region. Thank you, my brother. Have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let me go ahead here through my line and see who is else there on the list. Right. Jamal send in your request. Now I have only one request. I have only one request. A good Winnie, a strong government supporter, despite that thing are falling apart, but he's still supporting that government. A good
Azul al-Manadil.
welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. It's your turn to go ahead with your perspective.
Well, first of all, I want to greet you in the name of our traditional beliefs, spiritual leaders,
What is
spiritual beliefs in the name of the God, the Creator. And also, I want to greet all your audience who are watching, and also Happy Christmas and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year 2019. The percentage government is coming into effect, and that will be the departure of the reform we are all talking about. My brother, I got your question. You said, what have we done wrong, right? And what can we do to change that? My brother, yeah, my brother, we have been victimized, by the circumstances, when the peace was signed in 2005 and Dr. Jongkor was assassinated 20 days later, that was the time our country was going into the wrong direction.
Can you answer the question? Can you answer the question? Don't go around, please.
Well, we haven't done anything wrong. What has happened is that, as PLM leaders and those who were against the, the Liberation Revolutionary Party entered into the government and tried to change, the way we were, fought the war, and they wanted to dismantle the as PLM and take over so they can be able to please their master in Khartoum, the INF NCP, That's what has went wrong, and also the corruption. What we call, the money laundering. The politicians, the generals, everybody become, a businessman in the market. And instead of giving respect and also stand with the principle of SPLM party, mission, they change. They're building the mansions. In Rwanda, in Congo, in Kenya, all these countries, and refuse to build South Sudan. They would have built a good house in their house in the country, but they refuse to do that. At the same time, SPLM party should have used constitution. My brother, no nation on earth can prosper if they refuse to use the mandate through the constitution. Now in America here, we respect the law, even though we are crazy-minded people, we follow the American constitution. We cannot break the law. If we break the law, we go to jail, we go to prison, and then we get deported back to our domicile. But why we respect the law in America, in Europe, in Australia, in Canada, but we refuse to do it in our country? Why? Our leader, Comrade Salva Kiir Mayardit, he become, a guy who, he doesn't want to bring these guys to justice. And he wants them to learn. They want to understand that, listen, we fought with the radical Islamist fundamentalists. We defeated them. But it doesn't mean that we have won, a civilian, mindset. The government, what?
So you come to your senses that because if you are a supervisor and then everybody's doing wrong thing, you must write them up so they can learn. And if they are not listening, they have to face the consequences. Has President Kiir has done that, the leader that you talked about?
Well, I was coming, into that perspective because
right.
there was a comparison between Rwanda and South Sudan.
Write it up.
Rwanda came from a very dark days, when the French, and the Brits and this was called the Western powers. They support the genocide, In fact, America was the one who stand against the one of the general, He refused to leave. But French, or Britain, they support genocide. You know why? They want to take their country so they can be able to annex it to the Puma Zaire, so they can take whatever resource is available. When Paul Kagame is one of my favorite leaders, by the way, when he came to the power, he went and he brutalized those who are against the development of his country, and he's killing them one by one. Salva Kiir Mayardit would have done that, exactly. President Salva Kiir would have done that, but he wants these guys to understand that he doesn't want to kill them, but he wants them to learn. He wants to understand that we come from the very, very far distance. Why don't we, build this country? Why we don't learn from the past? Why don't we follow the way of Cuba? At least we have to build, healthcare, schools, military education, and we have to go against those who are using tribal-minded, so we can be able to bring them to justice. That wasn't done. So comparison between Salva Kiir and Rwanda, my brother, is totally wrong. It cannot happen.
Thank you.
No, listen. Let me give you this. So what I want to say is that I was interested to come today to speak, but I want to give you a message for the next 2019. I want to change, my brother. I want to change. I want to treat the government of South Sudan with some good observation. Umar Bashir is leaving now. Our problem is the INF NCP. If they are leaving, we will be able to bring the SPLM, Gita Shimal, fil Hakuma. But then the Chinese ita Amish vada. But then the American to talu namal new agreement for oil, for oil sector. That will be the time you will complain and you will be able to blame Akumla University Sudan. But normal chokol. So on the Gulag Yakinta, you need to try to treat this general of Tana of Juba be Trigasa, Lana Kala Salam Jajak, Seremo Charjai, and a command Mamun Nataban. I support the constitution, my brother. Me and as a good as a begit Hakum, Nasdo Bijiru Young White. Because me, I cannot listen, man. I'm very serious because I believe in South Sudan. I believe in you people. You are the future of South Sudan, our identity. But if we just forget tomorrow, we forget, Zaman al-Shmalin Gadi Hargun Benar. They slaughter our people. They rape our women, our daughters. They sold us into slavery. And now we're saying that, you know what? As Pelham Party, come on. As Pelham Party is a revolutionary party. This party has brought us to this stage. We are a free now. We have a country. What else do we want, man? Let's try to support this as Pelham. What?
But the NCP you're talking about,
INF, I call INF.
yeah,
INF before the
that you're
NCP.
talking about, Islamic National Front you're talking about, is the one that is the one now advising Juba, is the one that advising J1.
You know what the mistake is this? Before you kick me out, the mistake is this. When South Sudan become independent, Khartoum brought a guy called Mutul Sadiq. Mutul Sadiq is a terrorist. He's a guy who orchestrated the assassination of Hosni Mubarak, which fell in 1995. He became an ambassador of Khartoum to Juba. That guy is dangerous. Is a jihadist. Is all from jihad. وحكومة تاعنا مع الناس المجرمين ما دايرين يجربوا يشربوا قدام they become on the self-criminated neck like الناس بيقولوا ولا garang دول. That's why I'm against all the ولا garang people you support, my brother. These people, they are the one who led from Salva-Kiir down. If they would have stood with him and support him, and they would have now brought this country into a prosper where we can be able to experience, where we can compete with the rest of the world. But these guys, they eat our money. They associate with the foreign interests, and they say, you know what, we want a trusteeship. What is it? What is the trusteeship now? Why they came back yesterday? Listen, South Sudan in 2019 will not be the same South Sudan of last year. This country will go like fire. We will be able to bring everybody back, and execute them in court of law, whether they like it or not. With this, my brother, thank you so much. Stay with us. Let's build South Sudan to be strong.
Thank you, Agwet. Thank you, my brother. I disagree with you though, but anyway, we agree to disagree, no problem. Let's start again. It was good having you. Let me go ahead and see who is next in layer on the line. Makir, I don't know, maybe because of the network outage in Khartoum, it might be the reason that your request is not showing on my screen, but I'm certainly going better tip. I'm going who called first, who's second, who's third, and so forth. I'm not skipping anyone. This is what I'm doing. I don't skip anyone. I'm going. Try to send it in again, and then if I see it, I can bring you live. And I want to ask my old viewers, the 131, the 133, go ahead and share this video so we can have a strings. Because when you share it and like it, it's likely to have that strings. Go ahead, please share and like. Share and like. I just wanted to remind you, if you could do that, it would be so great. Let me go ahead and see on the line who is next here waiting for call. But meanwhile, go ahead and share. Makir, actually, I do see that your request came in, which is a good thing. Now I'm calling you, and I hope the network will cooperate so you can go ahead with your perspective. I'm calling you right now, Makir. Faddal. Hello.
مرحبا السلام يا مرحبا شو الاخبار اخو جونكور اخبارك
تمام الحمد لله تفضل
الله يسلمك اولا يا اخ جونكور انا يعني احييك واحيي كل المشاهدين وبقول لهم كل عام وانتم بخير واتمنى العام القادم يكون عام بتاع السلام وعام بتاع الاستقرار وعام بتاع الوحده بين المجتمع. اولا يا اخ جونكور انا بشكرك وبشكر المتداخلين بالتحديد ضيفك الاول هو رجل مقتدر تماما وزول ذو قدره قويه وزول يعني الناس ممكن تستفيد من افكار مثلا زي ده. انا زول بيتكلم بكلام هو موزون في حديثه يعني ما مال لجنب محدد يعني هو كان بيتكلم عن التحليل هو زول محلل وحلل القضيه بتاعت جنوب السودان بصوره ممتازه جدا. نخش في موضوعنا. نحن ذكرت بانه ماذا فعلنا وكيفيه معالجه كل هذه الاخطاء. يعني كلام كبير جدا. انا قوم اجزع عليك ماذا فعلنا نحن كمجتمع. يعني كلامنا ما راجع للحكومه بيرجع علينا احنا بماذا فعلنا. نحن اولا يا جونكور كمواطنين بتاع جنوب السودان نحن يعني وقعنا في اخطاء يعني بعد الانفصال بعد نزل صوت للانفصال وخدتنا الثقه في الحركه الشعبيه كحزب كان مناضل وضعنا كل البيض بتاعنا هنا في السله بتاعت الحركه الشعبيه.
نعم.
الناس باعت بيوتها وخسرت حاجاتها وعملت على اساس هم الدوله طلعت. لكن جينا تفاجئنا بمشاكل داخل الحركه الشعبيه، والحركه الشعبيه شتت المواطنين وخربت ممتلكات الناس وكذا حصل ما حصل. انا بتكلم في الحركه الشعبيه، ما في حزب بتاع رياض مشار ولا سلف فكير ولا اي زول، هم كلهم عباره عن حركه شعبيه. المشاكل اللي حاصله جنوب السودان كله عباره عن حركه شعبيه، ما تقول لي مجموعه 10 ولا مجموعه، كلهم هم دي الحركه الشعبيه كلهم يعني.
نعم.
اي زول هسه بيطلع لك منه يتكلم انا ما حركه شعبيه، لا كلام لا ما صح. الناس دي كلها حركه شعبيه. حتى جماعه بتاعنا اللي اتكلم قبل شويه اخ سباته هو من زول بتاعت ناس، وناس كان قبل كده يستبشروا له، كان واحد من الحركه الشعبيه وكان زول ميليتري كبير في الحركه الشعبيه. ممكن نتنصل من الحركه الشعبيه اليوم على اساس انت بيجي تحس انت من ضمن المشكله بتاعت جنوب السودان وشاركت فيها. المفروض نحن نعتذر كلنا، ما نقول ما نحط المشاكل في الحركه الشعبيه ونقول نحن برا منها، لا ابدا، نحن كلنا جزء شاركنا في المشاكل اللي حصلت وشاركنا في تشتيت شعبنا من المنطقه دي. الموضوع الاول بالنسبه ماذا فعلنا. طيب وكيفيه معالجه كل هذه الاخطاء. المعالجه بتاعتنا كمواطنين نحن محتاجين نوحد بعضنا. اول حاجه نعالج الاخطاء دي كلها، نحن ننبذ الكراهيه بين الشعب، يعني نحن ننبذ الكراهيه بيننا ونتحد سويا. ما تقول لي ده جاي من استوائيه ولا جاي من على النيل ولا ده من بحر الغزال، ده ما مودي البلد قدام. نحن نتحد فيما بيننا ونبقى شعب واحد امه واحده، بنقدر بعد ده نقدر نحل مشكله لقدام. الشيء الثاني طبعا جونكور بقول كلام بسرعه عشان انت زول ما شاء الله بتاع دائما الشو بتاعك بتحب يعني الناس كثير تشارك.
لا جو اهيد.
انا داير احاول انا سريع اقوم اتكلم بسرعه، اتكلم من حاجه دي.
نعم.
الشيء الثاني هنا جونكور اتكلمت عن ماذا استفدنا من الاخطاء كغاده. نحن جونكور احنا اولا يعني نظامنا نظام عسكري، والنظام العسكري ده من الصعب بيستفيد من الاخطاء. ما زول يعني زول عسكري من الصعب بيستفيد من الاخطاء، اللي بيستفيد زول السياسي. نحن اليوم يعني انا بالتحديد انا شخصيا انا ما مقتنع بالفتره الانتقاليه ده. بالنسبه لي شايفه اسوء فتره ممكن تمر جنوب السودان، لان الفتره دي بتذكرنا في حاجه بيقول لها الديمقراطيه الثالثه في السودان. في حاجه بيقول لها الديمقراطيه الثالثه، الديمقراطيه الثالثه دي كان مجموعه بتاعت ناس كوكتيل بتاعت جماعات مسلحه واحزاب سياسيه كونوا حكومه، والحكومه كانت ما مستقره لان حكومه فيها 100 نظريه. اي زول بيجي بنظر يقول النظريه بتاعته هو النظريه السائره، وبتبدا كده بتكون في عدم استقرار لان اصلا ما في نظام محدد كويس، ما في حزب معين بيدير الدوله، بينما يدار هذه الدوله بالعديد من الجماعات المسلحه والجماعات السياسيه. لذلك يعني الفتره القادمه يكون الفتره ممكن يكون اسوء فتره لجنوب السودان، والفتره اللي ممكن يكون فتره طيبه ممكن فتره ما بعد الفتره الانتقاليه.
نعم.
بعد ما يكون في حزب محدد، الحزب ده هو يكون الحكومه بحسب الاستراتيجيه بتاعته، بحسب النظره بتاعته بالايديولوجيه بتاعته، تبعد بعد ده ممكن يكون الدوله بعد ده لقدام. الشيء اللي اقدر اقوله ثاني اخ جونكور هو موضوع العلاقات في المستقبل بين الولايات المتحده الامريكيه وجنوب السودان. العلاقات بين الولايات المتحده وجنوب السودان، العلاقات دي محتاجه اول حاجه انت تبني الثقه بينك وبين الشعب بتاعك، انت كدوله تبني الثقه بينك وبين شعبك. الثقه بتبني بين الشعب، الثقه دي بدي الدوله اللي بتيجي تتعامل معاك بديه الثقه عشان يتعامل معاك. انت لو ما عندك علاقه بين الشعب وبينك انت ممكن يكون عندك علاقه بينك وبين الدوله الاخر. لذلك حتى الولايات المتحده الامريكيه هم بيتعاملوا وفقا لثقتك بين المواطن. انت اللي لو عندك علاقه قويه مع المواطن هو بيتعامل معك بالنور ده. انت علاقتك مع المواطن بتاعك تعبان ومواطن مشتت في دول الجوار، ربما يكون تعامله هيكون تعامل محدد وبفهم معين ما بيقدر يخش معك
ما يسمى
لانه ما يسمى بينك وبين الشعب.
ما يسمى بامريكان فاليوز او القيم الامريكيه. نعم.
ايوه، لان الدين ده علاقه بيقول لها مجلس هنايا مجلس الامن، مقصود هنايا الكونغرس الامريكي والجماعه دي هم سياساتهم بيميل على علاقتك مع الشعب. انت حتى ذاتك انت الليله انت كدوله عشان تتعامل سياسيا مع دوله اخر انت محتاج يكون عندك استقرار سياسي واستقرار اقتصادي. لذلك بعد ذلك ممكن يكون عندك علاقه بينك وبين اي دوله، هو دوله ثانيه بيحترمك. انت لما تكون انت مستقر اقتصاديا وسياسيا ومجتمعيا الدوله الثانيه بيحترمك، لانك انت لو خشيت معاه في حرب المواطن معك تلقائيا وهيخش.
نعم. hopefully Maker will resume because it looked like there is network problem.
انا داير اقوم اختصر كلامي، انا اتكلمت كثير معلش عنه.
لا ما
كويس. الاخ قبل الاخ فرانسيس اتكلم عن الاستراتيجيه. نحن بنتكلم عن الاستراتيجيه كلمه كبيره جدا. الاستراتيجيه لما بنتكلم عنها كلمه كبيره، والاستراتيجيه تحتاج استقرار سياسي في المنطقه. يعني الاستراتيجيه بيجي انت بتخد استراتيجيه بتاعت سنتين ل5 سنين، استراتيجيه بتاعت 5 سنين ل10 سنين، استراتيجيه بتاعت 10 سنين ل20 سنه. نحن الان ما موجوده لان احنا ما عندنا استقرار سياسي. ممكن نتكلم عن استراتيجيه اللي بعد استقرارنا السياسي. استغرينا سياسيا ونفكر بان الدوله دي يا اخوان المفروض نعمل كده ونعمل كده ونعمل كده، وبعد ذلك بقى نحن بعد ذلك عملنا دوله، ونتمنى الاستراتيجيه نعم يكون في مرمى السياسه والناس تتعامل بالاستراتيجيه، لان الدوله اذا ما عندها استراتيجيه من كل الجوانب ما بيبقى دوله، الدوله استراتيجيات، ده الشيء اللي بعرفه انا بالنسبه لتكون الدوله، انت لازم يكون السنه الجايه نعمل كده، السنه اللي بعدها نعمل كده، والسنه نعمل كده، تبقى دوله. اما الاخ قال كلام قبل شويه بانه نحن بعد ما يمشي مثلا البشير كان النظام مشى وجا نظام ثاني نحن حنقوم نلغي الاتفاقيه بين الصين وجنوب السودان، الكلام ما بيحصل دوليا في العلاقات الدوليه، ما في كلام زي ده. هناك في تعاون دولي، في تواقيع بتوقعها الدوله، ما بوقعها مع الرئيس، بوقعها مع الدوله. هسه الصين التوقيع اللي عملها مع السودان هو مع الدوله. السودان مثلا الرئيس لو فات الاتفاقيه دي باقيه حيكون ساير، لانه يعني حتى الديون القاعده بتكون في الدول هسه ما ديون عملوا الزول بنفسه، هسه الان ديون نميري بندفع عليهم الليل في السودان هنا، والنميري ده النميري مات، لكن ده ديون انت خليتها مكتوبه في ورق وقاعده في الملف بتاع الدوله. لما نيجي دوله عشان يتعامل معك، اي دوله يتعامل معك بيرجع لملفك ويشوف علاقتك كانت سابقا كيف معك وحتى هيبقى كيف. وده كلامي. شكرا كثير يا اخ جونكور
شكرا
على اطاله الفرصه معك.
شكرا اخ مكير from Khartoum لمداخلتك ولكلامك. انا بشكرك كل الشكر and please stick around. I know that those who are in Khartoum, network is down and actually you have to have an iPhone in order to go live video. If you have an iPhone and then you have to use what's so-called IPN or something like that, then you have to answer. That's the only way that you can be on live. That's why you see a lot of people today, they are not participating, those who are in Khartoum, because lack of the network, you know. But let us continue with our program. Let me go ahead and see who are those, you know, waiting. Come on. Yes, Jama. Women, they need to send in their requests as well. Women sending your requests. You know, this discussion is not just only men. They are more than welcome. Mimo, I'm calling you right now. Go ahead and answer that question. Mimo, I'm calling you. Okay, Mimo, good to see you. Go ahead with your brother.
يا ميري كريسماس. اول حاجه استاذ جنكور
اهلا بك.
خلينا اخد هيدفون.
Yeah,
اوكي
no, I can hear you very well actually, you know.
اوكي
you
that's
good.
very good. شكرا استاذ. اوكي شكرا استاذ جنكور. صراحه يعني انا بخش مباشر انه يعني نتمنى السنه دي 2000 نتمنى
واحدة. Go ahead. معلش.
اوكي نتمنى ان شاء الله 2019 انه شنو يكون العام السلام، لكن السلام انه احنا عايزينه استاذ جونكور، يعني احنا كلنا كشعب جنوب السودان خلي احنا نتفكر بالمنطق، خلي احنا نفكر انه شنو احنا عايزين نبني دوله، وبناء الدوله احنا يعني احنا كمعارضه سواء كان من مختلف المعارضات، خلي احنا نرجع للمنطق والعقل. المنطق والعقل انه شنو يعني احنا عايزين انه شنو نمشي بطريقه يعني منظمه، انه عايزين نبني دوله القانون ودوله المؤسسات. الحكومه تستفيد من شنو؟ تستفيد من النقد بتاع المعارضه، ما ينظر لنا كلنا انا ويت واسماء انه احنا يعني قاعدين نعارض معارضه بناء حدامه، احنا قاعدين نعارض معارضه بناءه، وان احنا بنعارض مع توقف الوضع الحكومه ماشيه فيه. هسه ماشي لاكثر من 6 شهور، يعني حكومه اللي كلما انه شنو هو بيطبق يعني الاتفاق اللي هم اتفقوا فيها ده بحذافيرها، وبيحاول انه شنو يفتح الحريات، وده انه شنو بيخلينا كلنا انه بنغير لحاجاتنا بتغير ثرو اكشن. دي حاجه اللي احنا عايزين نتكلم فيه. النقطه الثانيه انه شنو انا عايز اتكلم فيه انه شنو في حاله انه شنو سقوط الحكومه الخرطوم. سقوط الحكومه الخرطوم انه ده انه شنو بتوقف، يعني اول حاجه من جانب الحكومه ممكن الحكومه الجديده اللي بتيجي في الخرطوم ممكن تتملص من الالتزامات الدوليه الموجوده بين جوبا والخرطوم. ليه انا بكون لان هم بينظروا على سياسه المصالح. السياسه المصالح انه شنو؟ لان الاتفاقيات دي اساسا ابرمت خارج البرلمانات، لاننا بنعرف ان الموحدات الدوليه دائما بيتم عبر البرلمانات الدول. فبالتالي انه شنو ممكن الحكومه الجديده اللي بتيجي في الخرطوم هقول يا اخي احنا عايزين نعمل اعاده درس الموحدات اللي انه اجرت في الاسماء في خلال الفتره، وخاصه من ضمن المعاهده السلام اللي حصل في جنوب السودان. السلام اللي حصل في جنوب السودان يعني له شقين. الشق الاولى اللي هو الاتفاقيه ده اساسا له ضمانات دوليه بمراقبه
نعم.
الدول. لكن الشق الثاني اللي هو الموحده المقابله للبترول ده اساسا مخالف تماما اصول الموحدات الدوليه، لان ما في سلام بيجري مقابل اتفاقيه مباشره في النقطه دي. فبالتالي ممكن حكومه الخرطوم انه اذا عندهم مصلحه هيوافق انه شنو الاتفاق الابرم بين جوبا وخرطوم مقابل البترول احنا هننفذه. واذا انه هم شايفين انه هم عنده داخل اقتصاديه، لان الاتفاق بيقول انه شنو لابد انه شنو القوات السودانيه تخش داخل اراضي الجنوب السوداني لحمايه مناطق البترول. فبالتالي ده بيطالب شنو بيطالب الجيش، وده كمان انه وزاره الداخليه الحكومه انه احتمال انه شنو ده في خطوره بالنسبه لهم. هم ما عايزين يخسروا ما عايزين يخسروا الجيش، وهم عاده حسب بيقول احنا ما بنرسل جنود خارج خارج السودان. فبالتالي انه شنو هيقول اساسا انه شنو البرامج تقول انه الجزء ده مخالف اصول الموحدات الدوليه، احنا ما حنوافق. ده من جانب الحكومه. اما من جانب الحكومه بتاعنا بتاع جنوب السودان انه
Yeah, go ahead.
الاتفاقيه اذا انحارت اوكي اذا انحارت الاتفاقيه انه شنو يعني ده بقى بيرجع لرفقاء اللي انه وقعوا السلام اللي هو المعارضه والحكومه. لان اذا كان المعارضه شاف انه كان اساسا توقيع بتاع الاتفاقيه ضمان والاساس لتنفيذ الاتفاقيه هو كان السيد الرئيس بشير، فبالتالي انه شنو حيكون انه شنو يبقى انه معناته هذا الاتفاقيه حيكون في خطر بالنسبه له، لان كان الشريك الضامن بالنسبه له لتوقيع الاتفاقيه ده ما دام بشير بقى ما بمعنى انه شنو ان الاتفاقيه ده بيكون خطر بالنسبه له حسب الاستراتيجيات السريه اللي هم عاملينه. لان الاتفاقيه اساسا كان بشير وموسيفيني هم اللي اساسا شنو الضامنين هذا الاتفاقيه سواء كان من طرف الحكومه او من طرف المعارضه. فبالتالي غياب الشريك الاخر ان الاتفاقيه تنحرر. عايز اقول انه شنو في اي معاهدات او في اي الاتفاقيات انه اذا غابت شريك الاتفاقيه اذا كان عن طريق الوفاء او عن طريق الجنون، فبالتالي هذا الاتفاقيه لن حتكون في عمليه الاستحاله، لان الشريك هو جزء لتنفيذ هذا الاتفاقيه. فخلاصه عايز اقول انه شنو احنا كجنوبين خلي احنا نرجع في نسيج انه شنو احنا كجنوبين خلينا احنا دائما انه شنو يعني نفكر بالمنطق والعقل، حتى انه شنو احنا كلنا كمعارضه وكمؤيدين الحكومه وكمؤيدين المعارضه عشان انه ننقذ الدوله جنوب السودان. الجنوب السودان اكبر من المعارضه، اكبر من الحكومه، اكبر من اي حاجه. كلنا كنكون في موقف المسؤوليه انه همنا كلنا عايزين ننقذ حكومه جنوب السودان حتى ما تنحارب، حتى انه شنو احنا نبني دوله القانون والمؤسسات. وشكرا استاذ
انا
صالح.
بشكرك كل الشكر اخ ميمو لمداخلتك ولحديثك، حديث كويس جدا جدا. So please stick around. لو عندك اي بوينت عندك تضيفه بعد شويه انا بحاول اجيبك لان عندي ناس كثيرين عملوا ريكوست and I want to bring them. Thank you so much brother. Thank you.
اوكي انا بكون متابع. شكرا.
So let me go ahead here on my list and see who are those. I see that Tongyang, you just sent in a request, but you didn't send a request a long time ago. So there is one person ahead of you, Martin John Mangole. Martin John Mangole, I'm calling you right now. And then after that, it will be your next, Tongyang. Martin, I'm calling you right now, Martin John Mangole. It is an opportunity for you now to come in and add your perspective as well. So go ahead and answer that, Martin. All right. So Martin, I'm calling you, Martin John Mangole. I hope the network will cooperate so you can come on. Yeah, of course, you know, the request is open for everybody, women, men, anyone. But it's not my fault that Jama, no ladies are speaking because they did not send in a request. So Martin,
Hello, hello.
of South Sudan, good to see you, brother. Go ahead.
Hello, sir. Call someone else. I'm still busy already.
Okay, it looked like you sent in a request. That's why we call you. But anyway, no problem. So let me go ahead here with Tongjiang. Tongjiang, I'm calling you right now. Go ahead and answer. Tongjiang, go ahead and answer. Hello, Tongjiang Nyandeng. Good to see you, and concerned citizen of South Sudan. You are dressed in red today.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you for making this show. I'm going to choose very small word and I pointed out what's wrong and what the solution.
Okay.
One thing I'm going to talk here is how we can salvage the country.
Yes.
Too late, too little will require, you don't need to go for a date and propose and get married. It need overnight, I call it one night stand, peace agreement, emergency, quickly before Bashir overthrow. The reason I say that, a lot of people, government supporters, they always lie. And this is something wrong. In our country, a tribal, you're not gonna find someone tell you anything, straightforward. From Jam tell you. I'm talking specifically now to what's going on in Khartoum. If Bashir overthrow, and Bashir gonna be overthrown, people need to be educated what's going on in Khartoum. What's going on in Northern Sudan is America and Saudi Arabia agreement. Saudi Arabia to bring a radical Islamic government like Taliban in Khartoum to punish Bashir for going Damascus and Russia. For those who don't know politics, need to understand that. For America to evict Chinese by throwing Bashir, because Bashir go to red carpet in Juba, they're so agitated, they want to get rid of that. To salvage this situation, is you need overnight or agreements quickly. And the best way to do it, you Riek Machar and Kir not to be embarrassed. I made sure about it last week. Good way not to be embarrassed because Kir and Riek, their supporters, they have a confidence on them. They think that are stupid and they are tribal. We secure them. To do it quickly and leave them where they sleep. Give Kong Choranley, that's what you see now, CDR from Nuer. In Barkazal went to school there, Aras of Jongarang and wife of Jongarang to clean up the garbage.
But I have a point to make here. Why would the United States of America and Saudi Arabia, actually those two big powers, they are against the radical Islam, how would they evict the Islamic government in Khartoum and replace it with another Islamic government? Tongjiang?
Yeah, here, look what you seen. Bashir, he went to Russia, meet with Omar al-Bashir. Clerics, those religious radicals.
Bashir went to Syria and met with Bashar al-Assad.
And then he met with Putin.
Yes.
Muqdid in Saudi Arabia, they've seen that he went and accomplice with infidel Putin who killed Muslims in Chechnya. Bashar al-Assad, which is Alawat, branch kind of Shiite, would attacking, and Saudi Arabia give weapon to radical Turkish government, Taiba Dawan, and give them to al-ISIS, which is Daesh, to overthrow Assad. Bashir went to Syria, Damascus, with the full military fatigue to show solidarity. That Saudi Arabia, they want to punish him and bring him Wahhabis, not just a normal Muslim. This majority of Kir supporters or Riek Machar supporters, they don't know. If you tell them, oh, we are in Khartoum, Tongjiang don't know anything like that. This is what happened. America said, okay, if that's what Bashir doing, I'll bring Wahhabis, Sunni, to take Bashir out.
But Tongjiang, I'm sorry to be with that. We want to set the record right. Actually, Wahhabis is a movement. It has nothing to do with Islamic ideologies. You know, based on my study, Al-Haraka al-Wahhabiyya is just a movement. It's the one that actually pushed for independence in Saudi Arabia.
right? In 1800, they were fighting hard.
Yeah.
Wahhabis, they have nothing to do with Islamic ideology, you know. So their Harakat Ikhwan al-Muslimin, which is in charge right now in Khartoum, they give it a name. They can give it a fancy name. They can call it Mu'tamar Watani. They can call it NCP. They can call it Harakat Islami, whatever they can call it, you know. But Wahhabis, Al-Harakat al-Wahhabiyya, it goes back all the way to 1800, the Wahhabis movement, because they were deceived by England,
Yeah,
actually. You
Muhammad
join
Abdul Wahab.
Yeah. So yeah, you got it. So now I just don't get it, you know. Saudi Arabia, United States to replace al-Bashir with Islamic government. I don't see it.
Let
I
me
don't see
explain
that
it.
point.
Yeah,
Go
let
ahead.
me,
You can wrap
yeah,
it up.
let me explain it.
No.
This is the only way you salvage the situation here. An emergency move overnight. Throw away all any agreement signed in Khartoum. Give Riek Machar 40%, Kir take 60%, and that's the only way you can salvage the situation. We don't need to get an argument Wahhabis or whatever. Those Wahhabis, in a different non-Arabic speakers, they understood it different than Arabic speaking. Muhammad Abdul Wahab. In Pakistan have different interpretation and they do it right. The Taliban, they're doing it. In Chechnya, in Bosnia Herzegovina, the teaching of Muhammad Abdul Wahab is Islamic that will not be pressured in the politics, you will die with jihad. And that's the different. No double standard. They think Bashir bring Chinese oppressing Muslim, ethnic Uyghur, Turkish. So Bashir now,
Go ahead.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia and America said this to take Bashir out and bring more radical, will not be involved in the politics. The one will not wearing a suit, just
Yeah,
wearing.
but Tongyang, maybe I disagree. In my own opinion,
Absolutely.
Sudanese have bear a lot of burden. Sudanese have suffered for so long under Bashir regime, under dictatorial. So Sudanese actually, this is their movement. Has nothing to do with America, has nothing to do with Saudi Arabia. Maybe Saudi Arabia, they can help, but actually this movement is a Sudanese movement. It's a movement of people who have been neglected, who have been deceived, you know, they've been killed, they've been marginalized, they've been left behind. This is the movement of the people.
Okay.
The way I see it. It has nothing to do with America. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying here is very good. We will find out. Sudanese, they've been there for 30 years. Sudanese, they were not created yesterday.
Yes.
And problem of Sudan, whether a Khartoum, whether a Juba, back in the day, it started with the oil. It started with the resistance of West, plus hatred in the South. What happened in the Khartoum, this is what oil of bourgeoisie in Juba going through Khartoum. And Khartoum going to be in war. If Bashir is overthrown, the Islamists, they will not accept democratic. And if Islam come into in, they will not accept any democratic thing or circular government. So Khartoum going to be like in Tripoli, in Libya. This is what you need to expect. What is matter is not my problem. What is matter with it, it will create something. Even Juba now is very good thing, rush to doing something, to throw any agreement away and do what is good to stabilize situation. So that if things turn wrong in Khartoum, a massive refugee, they're going to be come back into South. And that in the South, people going to come passing through Northern Upper Nile, through Ejlik, through Kadugli, into that area, and you still have tribal hangover in South Sudan. It's not a good passage people pass. There might be killing and looting people coming from north. They have Bubad or Larabat Batom, and they have good thing. That's what I can see. Nyandengarang and CDR Kong Choran like they can doing something here. But it's a temporary. All those four spaces, like SPLA got independent with no strategic planning, as Dr. Francis said. How that happened? Kir is a president. You are another guys who was talking about phase 1, 4, 3, 4. Who done those things? Was Kir. Why you don't say anything and you mention first name? Those are tribal things you try to hide to be a nice guy. If the thing change, blame in South Sudan is always Kir. It's all tribal thing. Is all about security wrong, meddling in the politics. Last one, your guest, it was saying, Dhor Abun, he say a lot of good things, but Dhor Abun is afraid.
Dhor Abun.
To be afraid. Even you have a brilliant mind, the Guinean ever been born in South Sudan, Kir Mayar, you should mention his name. It went too far, John Luke. John Luke was dictated by a dictator, Kir.
He mentioned Kir actually. He mentioned Kir.
But he said John Luke is wrote constitution wrong. This is a tribal politics. It's wrong. He should not do that. Lastly here, South Sudan, what I can see and what I can think, if Bashir government of Sudan regime change in Egypt, in Khartoum, will grossly affect South Sudan and situation turned ugly. Kir will not have no place to go because Chinese, they're going to be evicted and oil in the chaos. Chinese, they're going to be run away from Khartoum. And this will put people in awkward position. Can West work with the Kir when you have armed embargo in South Sudan? No. Can West be demanding regime change? Yes. Can Kir will accept it? No. If Kir do not accept it, what will be option for the West? Well, arming others insurgents in South Sudan. More killing, more chaos when Khartoum, because you knew you cut off the regime change in Khartoum, and then in South Sudan, if Kir refuses it in, you will be arming every tribe, uprising every town. These people don't talk. It's very good for us to cry out and let message reach Kir right now, before too late. Either Kir will get killed, either we capture and face ICC. Kir or Riek Machar, if Bashir overthrow and they're running to South Sudan, they might be captured if they don't make strategic move, like overnight, to sign peace right away. If Bashir overthrow peace sign in Khartoum, there will be nobody witness to be implemented, because you cannot implement it. Peace, someone is overthrow. Nuer and Denka, they don't see this supporter of Riek, supporter of Kir. They don't see that. People like Agwod, they will be saying a lot of things to me. Bashir overthrow. Why do I need to implement it? What Bashir dictated me? And the peace in Khartoum, there was a gunpoint. Like people like Girichwang, they talk about it. So people need to think about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tungjang, for coming on and and having your perspective. It was very strong. We disagree, we agree to disagree, brother. Nothing personal. Thank you so much, for having that opportunity. Let's go ahead here and bring other South Sudanese who are waiting to send in their request as well. It was good to have you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, go ahead, Ajama, send in your request. Send in your request. I don't see any requests here now at the moment, so send in a request. I don't see any requests. Just go ahead and send in your request. Yeah, you can send in a request, Martin. Send it like the way you did it before. Because the name actually has gone up, the list is long. Yes, I see Lily Morbe sending a request. I'm going to go ahead for Lily right now because she's the only person that's sending a request. All right. Lily, I'm calling you. Lily. Merry Christmas. Hey, good to see you.
It's you.
Long time.
Long time, yeah.
All right. Go ahead, my sister, with your perspective. It's been a long time, and it's good to have you on the show today.
Yeah, I don't know. I wrote somewhere. I have been in and out, but I wrote your concern. You say what went wrong and what we can.
I can reiterate the topic here. The topic said, what have we done wrong as a nation? Okay, and how can we salvage these mistakes? These are the topic of today. So go ahead.
Yeah, there's first of all, because of the time, I will just want to thank everybody that tuned in, and thank you so for continuous commitment, to make sure that we have to follow up with what is going back home. So there is a lot of things that took place back home. There's a lot, and we cannot go if we want to go through the list that what we did wrong, it has tons of the mistake that we did. But now let me come after we already obtained the CPA. The CPA was obtained when we went to the bush in one spirit, like we want to attain one thing to separate from the north. So I'm not going to waste time there. I'm going to come from after we already attend the CPA.
Independent? Okay.
I'm coming from here, back, this one towards here, and I'm going to start from after the peace agreement has been signed. To me, in order, I don't want to go to the mistakes that we did a lot, but we did a lot of mistakes that we damages to our people. The same people that we fought and to protect them are the same people that we hurt them, especially vulnerable people like children, women, disabled, and elderly people. Those are the things that we are not happy. We did something wrong. And after the 2001, then 2013, that was really that gave birth to even the reoccurring conflict that is taking place right now. So what we want our people to do, especially our nations and our leaders, they need to come up like publicly. I remember in 2011, Dr. Ria came like apologized about what took place in 1991, and also the president said, but now it is time for us not to believe their words. We want to make sure that they have to come publicly, because all the citizens of South Sudan, that something went wrong, they have to apologize. It's called moral services that will recognize that there was something that went wrong. And also we see that peace cannot be implemented until, because peace and justice is just the same coin, you know. Peace cannot come without some of us being justified or being brought to accountability before the implementation of the peace. That's the problem that really making this peace very complicated. See, now we left with few months. What can we do now? We left with few months, and we have some of the brothers before they were SPLM. All of them, they were SPLM. And also because of their disagreement within themselves, now it gave birth to IO and a lot of opposition now out there. So how can this peace be implemented if the accountability and justice has not been done? And also people who disagree with them, who oppose them, they should be encouraged to come and continue with the language of the dialogue. I'm sure this peace will not be implemented. It might be implemented. It is not easy, but also it's not impossible. So for the meantime, we are encouraging the government, our government, to continue with the dialogue of negotiation on the table, you know, to talk about the issues that why other groups are still angry, why they're still fighting, because right now we are killing each other. And when we are capable of even stopping this war by not even depending on other foreign countries, by supplying us with the guns, then our wealth has been damaged, because we are exchanging our wealth and they're giving us guns and we are killing each other. So we need to focus on ourselves. Our leaders need to focus on ourselves. They need to repair and reinstitute. They need to repair and to reinstitute the constitutions that was done. It is subject to be amended, because the constitution that is temporary now, even during this transition period, it needs to be amended in order to satisfy the needs of every South Sudanese. See, those are the things that our leaders need to work on even before the implementation of the peace. Why I say the implementation of peace will be difficult, because there are some elements that have been left out. It was not addressed. So they have to identify and call them back, so that to identify the problem, resolve even 80% of the elements that they disagreed with them. So this is us as the citizen of South Sudan. We are trying to encourage our leaders to work on these issues. Otherwise, this peace implementation will be very, very difficult to be implemented. That is some of the things that we want them to do it.
Yes.
So we want the judiciary and the permissive system, you know, if the judiciary system is not in place, I think the people that had us, they will just go without doing anything, and this will encourage another corruption. So those things need to be addressed, and judiciary system needs to be in place. And one of the judiciary systems that need to be in place is the criminal justice that will deal with the tribal, that will be with the tribal system. See, because we have a disease that called tribalism that affecting our system right now, Jongkor. Even our uncles that have been there, even the militias that has been there in South Sudan. If you adjust and if you study all the militias, they have a link to their tribal commanders. And also those commanders, they were even the cause of what took place all these years, all the massacres that took place in 1984 until 1991 and 2013, 16, 12, all these years, all these commanders, they have linked to the militias that they have formed. So all these issues, it has to be addressed so that we will not continue with a country like this. We want a country that everybody has the right to be treated. It doesn't matter you are minorities, you are majority. We want a system that really look into the welfare of every South Sudanese in the country. So this peace can be really genuine. And peace cannot be implemented until the justice and the peace in the same point. That's what we are looking for.
Yes, yes. So now, Sister Lily, as you talk all about all these things, what is the way out forward here? Well, I should put it this way. What do we need to do? Because I have Brother Sabata, mentioned that what happening in Khartoum is a result that people are coming together, because they have been used, they have been deceived. What your message to South Sudanese in sense of coming together,
Oh, like in sense of coming together, because now when the chaos that is taking place in Khartoum, we thought that maybe we have different perceptions toward it. Some of us say we will not be by our own. So to me, why are we always being babysitted by the allies? Why are we always being babysitted by the allies? But now it will give us that there is time for us now to be independent. There's time for us now to focus on our own issues. Yes, Bashir is part of the destruction of the country, but when he signed the peace, he helped us in signing the peace. That is not bad, but at the same time, it came with the tax. It came with the tag with it. He has personal interest in the country. This is very obvious, even doesn't require any explanations. It's time for us now to focus in our own issues as South Sudanese to resolve our own issues. Should there be people like United States of America, because they are not there to take our country, or just they have long-term policy to destroy us or to do something in our country, maybe we should have something like mutual deal, like businesses. And with a contract, in a certain years, 10 years, you are gone from our country. So we have to watch out from these allies. We are capable, we have abilities. If we come together as South Sudanese and unite and work together for the country, we are capable of bringing sustainable and permanent peace in our country. If we have to work together inclusively, without any tribalism, without any hidden agenda, to work together toward the South Sudanese, we are sure we can work, and this peace will be sustainable and permanent in our country. So Khartoum is not like a big problem to me. Khartoum is a big problem because when they dig their nose in our resources in South Sudan and taking part of our land, like Abyei, like Idlib, and whatever, this is the problem. We have to continue to fight that. But other than that, they are not so important so long as we can focus on our issues and come together and really fight those who are really spoiling the nation. Some individual in the system, they need to be addressed, and also it comes with accountability, and also then we will see that our country will go in the right path. Other than that, that's all we are looking for.
Sister Lily Morbe, Thank you so much for coming to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan and adding your perspective. Please stick around. If you have any more point, you highly welcome to come back again later. Thank you and Happy New Year.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, let me go ahead and see who are those still waiting. I see that Martin, John Morbe. Zol Kabir, I saw your request now. You barely sent it in. But I'm going to go ahead for Martin and then I'll bring you. And I don't know where is Tuj. Tuj is not here. Atili Abu Yasmin. So many they are not here. I don't know. Tuj, where are you? So, calling you, John. John Martin Morbe, welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan, sir. It's good to have you. Go ahead with your perspective.
Thank you, Jongkor. This is Martin Bone, and this is my first time to appear on your show. I'm very glad to share and come on board. I also would like to thank all your viewers across the globe.
Yes.
The question that you pose is really very important because it is what it is. You know, what have we done wrong as a nation that has brought us all these problems and issues country? You know, first of all, we as the nation are quick to go for war. This is the first thing, you know. And instead of dealing with issues through negotiations and check and balances so that you can give away and take, they decide to go for a war. That is a big problem. That is the issue here. And when they choose to go for war, a lot of things happen. You know, like people were killed, houses were destroyed. You know, people from outside came in to, you know, take advantage of our weaknesses and whatever. Like Yoweri Museveni, President Bashir in Khartoum, and so many others. It is because we allow them to come in and take part in the problem happening in the country. So it is very, very, very difficult that those things can just be ignored. The current leaders who have caused this problem will just be overlooked. And then people will just come together and just forget everything. It's going to be very difficult. I'm telling you. But the good news is that
so
lies.
Martin, have you seen the question of today? The question of today here, or the, you know what we had? It say actually what went wrong? What have we done wrong as a nation, and how can we salvage these mistakes?
I think when you talk into the nation, you know, nation includes everybody. Is all the South Sudanese themselves. This is the nation. But when you see into this problem, when you know, try to identify what has caused the problem, it is the SPLM party who decided, you know, to go for war. Now, when they went for war against each other, you know, it is not the whole South Sudanese. You know, there are a lot of innocent people who even don't have nothing to do with the politics. But because of the SPLM party, they started to, you know, fight among themselves. That is why we have a war in the country. So now, this is what has gone wrong. Picking up arms against each other is the problem here. They decided to pick up arms against each other. They shouldn't have done that. You know, this is the number one mistake they have done.
Yes.
And now, when they did that, what happened? You know, there are a lot of chaos. Until you and me talking today, there's still chaos in South Sudan. But the good news is, they themselves have realized that chaos, and they've seen a lot. Murdering, killing, whatever, you know. They have realized that, and now they have come to their sense that they want a peace. Although now they're trying to go alone themselves without those who have them before. But let all of us come behind them, try to appreciate this peace and try to find some rhythm of how we can go about implementing this peace. Though it is going to be very hard because they don't have the money. They don't have the money right now to implement the peace, but let us, all of us, try to gear behind them and try to find those positive areas where we can hang together. This issue of tribalism is all over the world. Even in a lot of African countries, there's still that tribalism thing. But specifically in South Sudan, I think we've learned a lot when you take this tribalism thing. So tribalism, I think, as the time goes, is going to die down because Denka and Nuer, whatever, Equatoria, they've learned a lot. Tribalism is not going to take us nowhere. And this thing, I think, in long term is going to die, and we're going to actually try to stick together. But the thing is, my message is this. Let all of us, you, me, and everybody, try to support this peace initiative. We have to support it, although we don't know how it is going to go. But let us try at least to do our best. Let us try to do our best to make it work, because nobody's going to, if you allow Bashir to come and do it for us, he has his own interest. If you allow Museveni, he has his own interest. But we as South Sudanese, collectively, can be able to put this thing together and bring the war to an end. It is you, me, Salva Kiir, Riek Machar, Thomas Cirillo, whoever out there.
So Martin,
right now, and the world is watching. And
Martin, now since you don't want to answer that question, do you believe that this peace is going to prevail and is going to be implemented? Because right now we are 4 months behind its schedule. That's my next question for you.
Oh yes, like I mentioned before, there are a lot of hawkers, eagles, crocodiles around South Sudan. They don't want to see South Sudan prosperous. They don't want to see South Sudan as a model. They don't want to see South Sudan exist as a peaceful, prosperous nation. Because if you see around South Sudan, all these countries around South Sudan are, they are really, I'm telling you, they are not for any good. They are struggling. And here, South Sudan is born, and you want this child to have a good milk, have a good whatever, They are not going to allow that to happen. But take this from me. If we, the spirit of resilience, if we have that spirit of resilience, where even if anything goes down, but we still can come out of it positively, then we can knock all these foxes out our way. Then we can be able to establish a unique, beautiful, strong, and powerful government that is based on constitution, the rule of law, liberty, prosperity in South Sudan. But this is going to take a real work. It's going to take a real change. It's going to take a real, sacrifices from the South Sudanese people, not from Uganda, not from U.S. Yes, U.S. can help us, when they see us moving towards a peace, a real peace that has accountability. Those who have gone wrong must face the rule of law, So if we are doing that, the U.S. is going to come in, UK is going to come in, Canada is going to come in, Australia is going to come in, and all the African countries, those who have a goodwill, they're going to come in. They're going to help us. But then we need to sacrifice. We don't need to sit here in Facebook, try to step on the old wounds. The old wounds, if you step on the old wounds, what are the old wounds? The old wounds are the killings in Juba in 2013, the killings in the villages, the destruction of everything. These are the old wounds. Let us not go there anymore, brother Yahuna Mayol. Let us try to put oil on those wounds that have cracked our fabrics in South Sudan. Let us not step on them. We should put a very good oil on those wounds. What are those oils? The oils are replacing hate by love. We have to replace hate by love. We have to call ourselves South Sudanese, not Nuer, not Denka, not Equatorian, not whatever. We need to call ourselves South Sudanese. Like here in Canada, we call ourselves Canadian. I am a Canadian. You guys in America, you call yourself, I'm an American. Why not South Sudanese and a South Sudanese? You know, these are kind of the mechanisms or some things that, substances that we need to put as a process to build our nation, to bring our broken Nueri, Denka, and Equatorial together. You know, these are the things that we need to sing, create songs about them, need to create schools about them. You need to do a lot of things about them, but not going, oh yeah, there's a killing in 2013. Oh yes, it happened, but we need to find some ways of getting out of this. So the way to get out of this is by initiating love among ourselves, try to forgive ourselves, but we should not forget accountability. Accountability must be there. Those who have committed crime against the innocent people must be held accountable.
It's okay, yeah. Okay. But Martin, I have another question here. When you say that we don't need to be in Facebook here and just, you know, start touching the wound of 2013, 2016, that's not what we are doing actually, because the question was, what have we done wrong? And what can we do to salvage the mistake? That's what we are asking, because as a concerned citizen, and you are a concerned citizen, I suspect that you are from Greater Equatoria. What do we need to do to move out of all this mess in order to get out of this? Do we need to support them and do the same thing? Or do we need to change the modalities and approach them in a different angle? 2019 is coming. Are we going to be the same way and following the same pragmatic society, you know, being poisons? And how the accountability is going to come? If you say that we should follow them, we should just do what they want, how accountability is going to prevail? Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Jongkor, for highlighting that. Let me outline what I've just said. You know, nobody's an angel. Neither you nor me. Nobody's perfect. Salva Kiir Mayardit is not perfect. He's a human being. Yeah, Dr. Riek Machar is not perfect. He's a human being. Everybody has their own weaknesses. We go up and come down. Okay, there is a time where South Sudan has gone up and has gone down. And those leaders who dropped South Sudan down are the ones we are talking about them right now. Now, what are we supposed to do to salvage this nation? This is what I've seen, or this is my views. My views is that what do we need to do right now? And this is what everybody, if you have, you had an interview with this Coast Guard American friend who gave you a lot of some very important information about what should we do in South Sudan to get out of this trap. You know, it is a trap. It is dangerous. It's not good. Now, first of all,
one second, Martin. I just wanted to answer my brother. You know, for Donato. For Donato, not every Equatorian actually demand what you are writing here. Equatorian are tribe, and Equatorian are other South Sudanese. They are like any other South Sudanese. The notion that you are saying that Equatorian, they have one collective, you know, demand is not true. You know, it's not true. And I invite you, I challenge you for Donato today to come to the show and come and express your views. I want you today. After this guest, I want to bring you in. Go ahead, Martin.
Thank you, Jongkor, and also I actually appreciate what Brother Donato have just said. That's very good spirit. Yes, we Equatorians, we are. I think we are about 36 different tribes in Equatoria. Yes, well, that is not the point. That is actually not the point. Now the point is how are we going to get out of this problem? You know, first of all, our leaders need to listen to the voices of reason. Riek Machar, Salva Kiir, whoever is leading the country today, they have to listen to the voices of the reason. What are those voices of the reason? You know, they know very well, since from day one, Salva Kiir has been in the war for more than 40, going to 50 years. And also Riek Machar. they know what we as South Sudanese want. You know, we wanted the silence of the gun. We want the gun to go silent. This is number one. They have to stop fighting each other. To get out of this thing, don't use the barrel of gun to achieve your objectives. You know, when you are fighting brother and brother, you don't need to use helicopter gunships, tanks, and all those. This is number one. Number two, to get out of these things, we need to listen to people like America. We need to listen to the countries like Canada. We need to listen to countries like UK. Although they have their negative, interests there, but we still can pick some good things from them, so we can work with it. And those that we don't want them, we can just say no. We're not going to go for that because we're a sovereign country. We cannot, accept those ones. Now, this by allowing the Americans and the UKs and the other friends, to come and help us financially, educationally, whatever, we can be able to stand up again and try to heal all those wounds, and then we will be a prosperous and beautiful country once again in Africa.
Okay. Brother Martin, thank you so much for coming on to Concerned Citizens of South Sudan and adding your perspective. It was good to have you. And please come back again. This forum is for all South Sudanese from all walk of life, from all different political affiliation. I really appreciate you, and say hi to the family there. Happy New Year.
Thank you so much, Jongkor. God bless you. Happy New Year, man.
Yes. So let me move ahead here, and with other South Sudanese who are requesting, and actually I issue a challenge, before that to brother Fortunato. Fortunato, if you are there, send me a request for Fortunato. I want Fortunato to come here, and it's good sometimes to hear from you. I want you to be part of this discussion, because send a request, please. So now, okay, let me go ahead here and get this. And I hope Fortunato will send in his request as well, so I can hear your perspective, and the South Sudan can hear his perspective. We can disagree, no problem. No. Go ahead.
البلوتوث ولا العادي؟
No. Go ahead.
لا البلوتوث مش؟
I don't know.
انت كده ما سامعني؟
The volume. Oh, it's worse. You don't have a headphone?
عندي كده ما سامعني؟
The volume is repeating. So بداية قاعد يتكرر. Okay, now.
لسه بيتكرر؟
No, it's good now. So, welcome to Concerned Citizens of South Sudan, Dhor Kabir. This is an opportunity for you to express your opinion. You can use both languages. You can speak Arabic or you can speak English. It's up to you. And I still calling my brother Fortunato to come and express his views as well. You are not at work. I know that. It's Saturday. I know some people work on Saturday, but you still can come on. I issue challenge to you today. This is your program. This is your place. Go ahead, Dhor Abun.
شكرا أخي جونكور وكل الناس اللي تحدثوا قدامي وكل الحضور. أنا بقول لكم كل سنة وأنتم طيبين. أنا هتكلم بعد تحيتك للضيف الأول اللي كان متحدث اللي هو دور أبون. أنا بحييه وأنا بسميه إنسان راكز. هو فعلا صح إنسان راكز. وعايز أعمل تعقيب ل3 نقاط زايدين في نقطة أخيرة. أنا طبعا طلبت من بدري كنت عايز أخش. طبعا الناس اللي بيجوا بدري ديل بياخدوا زمن كفاية، لكن أنا ما هكتر. أنا هتكلم في حاجة واحدة، موضوع بتاع الأس بي ال ام. كويس؟
نعم.
أخي جونكور، المنظومة بتاعت الأس بي ال ام هي منظومة أصلا بقت فيها المشكلة. كويس؟ لأنه نحن يعني السلم التنظيمي بتاع الحزب ذاته بقى فيه عدة مشاكل. يعني أنا داير أديك مثل. النقطة الأولى أنا عايز أتكلم فيها مثلا الاستقطاب وتأثيره. كويس؟ الاستقطاب وتأثير المنضمين طوعا. كويس؟ يعني حسب الفترة اللي فاتت أنت لو لاحظت الناس بيجوا انضموا للاس بي ال ام طوعا، معناها ما في استقطاب هنا وما في جوانب دي كويس. فهنا بعد ذاك بتحصل المشاكل. يعني مثلا انا في الاس بي ال ام، احنا الصف الثالث كان كويس.
نعم.
نحن الصف الثالث في الاس بي ال ام. الصف الاول انت عارف ديل ناسنا الكبار، يلا بعد ذاك في الصف الثاني زائد نحن الصف الثالث. اتخيل يوم 7/11 يوم 7/11 يوم 7/7/2011 جو انضموا للاس بي ال ام مجموعه كبيره من اعضاء بتاع المؤتمر الوطني كويس، بقياده رياك جاي كوك وناس تدقى والجماعه بتاع المؤتمر الوطني ديل كلهم اللي هسه هم قاعدين في الحكومه. الناس ديل تنظيميا لما انت تيجي تنضم في تنظيم جديد المفروض يكونوا ورانا صح؟ الناس دور كلهم
اوكي.
مش في التنظيم، مش المفروض يكونوا ورانا في التنظيم. هسه هم قدامنا، ومش قدامنا بس، هم اعضاء فعالين في الحكومه. معناها هنا المنظومه بتاع الاس بي ال ام زادوا فيها مشكله. انت الكرت البطاقه بتاعت العضويه لما تدي لي زول البطاقه دي المفروض تكون مرقمه صح؟
نعم.
في رقمك، الرقم بتاع العضو ده بيوري انه العضو ده وتاريخ الانضمام بتاعه انضم 200 مثلا شنو؟ في الحزب. دي ما عندنا. نمرة 2 انا عايز اتكلم لك عن حاجه مهمه جدا في فك الارتباط مع المؤسسه العسكريه. الاس بي ال ام فشل فيها، يعني ما عمل فك ارتباط بينه وبين المؤسسه العسكريه في جنوب السودان كويس. نعم. عشان كده هسه بتلقى سلفاكير هو رئيس بتاع جمهوريه جنوب السودان، هو رئيس اس بي ال ام، وهو القائد العام بتاع الجيش بتاع الاس بي ال اي صح؟ ودي كنا مثلا نحن لطالما قلنا يا اخي نحن خلاص جايين نكون دوله وربنا باركنا بقينا عندنا دوله، يا اخي فك الارتباط بين المؤسسه الحزبيه كويس وبين المؤسسه العسكريه. فما ممكن انت نفس الجنرالات ديل تلقاهم في الاس بي ال ام بتلقاهم بجاي في الاس بي ال اي. بعد شويه انت ذاتك هتيجي تلقى الجنرالات ديل والوزراء ديل قاعدين في السوق، هم المتحكمين في السوق كويس. تمشي في كل النقابات تلقاهم برضه كلهم موجودين هناك. انت كده ما بتكون عملت مؤسسيه للدوله اللي انت قاعد فيها كانسان مسؤول.
انا داير اقول حاجه انتوا لو ملاحظين the last 2 weeks IO people they are not coming to our show. Don't you guys realize? I realize something. People IO al-Qadr IO they are no longer coming here. They just want and they don't want to participate. I don't know what happened. Is it because the white minister or what it is? I don't know. Have you seen my brother Jongkor? Have you seen my brother Kwanmalwat? Have you seen my brother Garwin? Have you seen them? No one. They are not coming. So I'm asking, all of a sudden, what happened? We are in it together. We are all South Sudanese. Is it because we are criticizing the process that the peace is not being implemented behind its schedule? What it is, I don't know. I hope one of them will come, or they got instruction from political leadership not to participate. Why are they not coming to concern citizens of South Sudan? I'm sorry. حبيت ان ننوه الناس عشان يقدر يعرف what's going on. Go ahead.
هم موجودين هنا، وسليمان دندر انا شفته قبل كان موجود هنا. اتمنى انه هم السؤال ده هم يجاوبوا عليه كويس.
اوكي.
نديك حاجه ثانيه اللي هي عدم قيام مؤتمر عام بتاع الحزب من 2013 كويس. يعني يا اخي جونكور وكل الناس المشاهدين انه حزب الحركه الشعبيه من عام 2013 ونحن خاشين هسه 2019 الحزب ما عمل اي مؤتمر عام كويس. انت المؤتمر العام ده المفروض انت تعمله سنويا حسب الدستور بتاعك عشان تجي تقيم فيه العمل بتاعك وتجي تقدم فيها التقارير، تجي تعمل محاسبه للحاجات اللي ما مشت كويس. هنا في الحاله دي المفروض اوتوماتيكالي بيحصل شنو؟ اوتوماتيكالي هسه حاليا في منظوم بتاع تنظيم كويس. مفروض الرئيس وكل اعضاء البوليتيكال بيرو فقدوا الاهليه والشرعيه كويس. فقدوا الاهليه والشرعيه لانه انت هسه ماشي 6 سنوات انت ما عملت مؤتمر عام. عشان كده لما يكون عندك يعني هسي تلقى المؤسسه بتاعت الاس بي ال ام، يعني هسي باغانا اموم ده هم ما بيقدر يشيلوا برا. ليه؟ لانه هو داير مؤتمر عام. مؤتمر عام هو ما عمله كويس. فهو بعدين لما يجي يعمل المؤتمر العام، ولو كان فعلا صح نحن نتكلم عن مؤسسات حزبيه، مفروض الرئيس وكل اعضاء البوليتيكال بيرو كويس يجونا باستقالاتهم كويس، ويدونا التقارير بتاعتهم انه يا اخي ليه مثلا مشكله داخل حزب عملت مشكله داخل دوله. يعني هسه اي زول بيحكي قصه بتاعه براو صح؟ اي زول عنده قصته براو. تسال ناس الجيتان بيحكوا لك قصه براو، تسال الرئيس الفقير يحكي لك قصه براو، تسال مجموعه الايو اي زول عنده قصه مختلف من الثاني كويس. ودي مشكله بتواجهنا في يعني اي تاثير اي مشكله بتحصل في الحزب بتاثر في الدوله مباشره. عشان كده انا قلت لك قبل موضوع فك الارتباط بين المؤسسه الحزبيه والمؤسسه بتاعت العسكريه. لو ما يتعمل الجانب ده صدقني جد ان احنا ما ممكن ان احنا مثلا نقدر نحقق اي خطوه. انت حاسس عندك مثلا، انا اديك مثل في امريكا هنا، انت حاسس عندك الحزب الجمهوري. الحزب الجمهوري كان فيه خلافات داخل الحزب كويس.
نعم.
هل يتاثر بالدوله؟
لا طبعا
ما يتاثر بالدوله. ليه؟ لانه اي حزب عنده تنظيم بتاعه. لو انتوا شاكلتوا داخل الحزب هناك شكل بتاعكم ده ما تجيبوه في الدوله. الدوله دي فيها احزاب وفيها مواطنين، في ناس ما عندهم علاقه بالسياسه ذاته كويس. فانت لما انت تكون عندك مشكله في الحزب بتاعك تجي المشكله دي تتاثر معه، I think this thing is not good. It's not good حتى للحزب ولا الدوله ولا سمعه الدوله ولا اي شيء. يعني حتى الدستور بتاعك ذاته انت تكون عملت له ابيوز كويس. الحاجه اللي قبل الاخيره، اتذكر قبل فتره كان في الحوار الوطني اللي كان اعلنه الرئيس.
يا ناشونال دايلوج.
ناشونال دايلوج. هل تعلم انه في الاول لما قالوا الناشونال دايلوج ده هم كانوا خاطين الناشونال دايلوج ده. الناشونال دايلوج ده ذات هو اللي كان يجيب السلام في جنوب السودان كويس. الناشونال دايلوج بعد ما انتهى وجابوا المخرجات بتاع الناشونال دايلوج اللي هو الحوار الوطني، قالوا نحن كده نركز في اتفاقية السلام. انا ما بقول لا، لكن انت الناشونال دايلوج ده لما جه كويس جاب تقرير، في تقرير بالمناسبه في توصيه انه الرئيس يتنحى في الحوار الوطني باي ذا واي. الو
يا انا معاك. انا بس في كلام سباده كتب هنا قال بيقول يا اخي SPLM actually conducted the national convention in 2016. Utaban Dengai attended as an IO member at that time. So it's a little bit of correction there.
No. المؤتمر بتاع الاس بي ال ام لما كان دايرين يعملوه موسفيني اداهم استشاره قال لهم يا جماعه ما تعملوا هذا المؤتمر ما لم الرفاق بتاع انكم البر ديل يجوا تعملوا المؤتمر العام. ما في مؤتمر العام 2016 احنا ما قاعدين هناك كويس. انا عايز اقول لك شنو.
نعم.
الحوار الوطني لما مخرجاته جات انه يا اخي مفروض الرئيس يتنحى طوعا، قام ركله جدعوه في الدرج. هسه ما في زول قاعد يتكلم عنه. ما في زول. ناشونال دايلوج ده خلاص مات.
I made a show about it by the way.
يس الناشونال دايلوج هسه مات، ونحن المواطنين بتاع جنوب السودان حندفن الحوار الوطني ونركز معاهم للسلام كويس. لانه طالما هم اصلا ما دايرين الحوار الوطني ده نتائجه.
اقول حاجه بس هنا، يعني الحكومه وبعض الشخصيات كانوا بيقولوا national dialogue is the only solution. يعني لما نتكلم نقول لا، انا اقول لهم يا جماعه national dialogue ده ما عنده بيسس. لان اساسا انت مواطنين يمشي يعمل national dialogue مع منو؟ لان انتوا يا شاكلتوا في الحزب، انتوا يا عملتوا مشكله. You supposed to reconcile among yourself. ما مواطنين عندهم مشكله. قالوا لا national dialogue is the only solution. حسن national dialogue طلب مقررات وقال ياك الرئيس يتناحى. قام شاكلته في جري because they don't want anything touching president. Right?
انه قال لهم الرئيس يتنحى طوعا بدون اي مشاكل، الرئيس يمشي كويس. هنا بتجي تلقى انه يا جماعه كده شوف المصاريف التي صرفت في هذا الحوار الوطني. الناس ديل ملايين الدولارات صرفوها في الحوار الوطني، وفي النهايه المخرجات بتاعت الحوار الوطني ما في زول يشتغل به. ودي حاجات نحن ما جاهل خلاص بقى ما قاعدين يجيبوا ذاته حتى في التلفزيون القومي. الناس بقى كل يوم باحتفالات من محل لمحل، قاعدين نحتفل بسلام، الناس يمشي يرقصوا ويقولوا مبروك ويربطوا اللاوات بتاعهم كويس. خلوا الحوار الوطني، نحن برضو ما عندنا مشكله في الكلام ده. خلي السلام، خلي السلام اللي هم هسه ده يطبقوها بحذافيرها ويقودوا الناس كويس للانتخابات عشان الشعب بعد ده يختار. الشعب يختار ويقدر شنو يطلع الى بر الامان كويس. اما في واحده من الحاجات ذكرها المتحدث قبل انه علاقه صلاح جوش مع انه كان بيجي مثلا في امريكا. علاقته مع امريكا يا جماعه ما بناء انه يعني مؤتمر مكافحه الارهاب والحركه الاسلاميه في السودان متهمه بهذا الكلام، وهم بقوا يتعاونوا مع المخابرات الامريكيه عشان يشوفوا الاوكار بتاع السلفيين او الارهابيين في العالم وين، سواء كان في افغانستان او وين المحلات اللي هم كتار قاعدين فوقه. ده الجانب الوحيد هم قاعدين يتعاملوا فوقه مع شنو؟ مع الحكومه الامريكيه عشان يقوم يرفعوا اسمهم من قائمه الدول الداعمه للارهاب. عشان كده صلاح جوش على طول جاي هنا وجابوا محمد عطا. انت لو بتعرف محمد عطا هسه السفير السوداني هنا في امريكا كويس، ده زول بتاع المؤسسه العسكريه وزول بتاع مخابرات وزول بتاع هنا بتاع امني، كان وزير الدفاع قبل كده كويس على ما اعتقد. دي الاسباب الناس دول بيتعاملوا معه. نحن ذاتنا تمنينا انه حتى حكومتنا كويس كانت تتعامل مع الناس دول في كيفيه انه يا اخي يدربوا الكوادر بتاعت المخابرات دي عشان تجيب تقارير كويسه، تجيب تقارير حقيقيه. لما ننزل الليله مثلا تيجي تقول والله العظيم كان في عمليه بتاعت انقلاب في 2013، تقوم مدعومه بشنو؟ بمستندات بتحركات بتاع الناس والحاجات دي. دي الحاجات اللي هناي. اما اخيرا الموضوع بتاع الثوره الحاصله في السودان حاليا. طبعا انت شفت
مع موضوع الحاصل الثوره في السودان. انا دايرك to answer question ده. What do we need to do? What leaders need to do to salvage the situation عشان ينقذ الموقف اللي احنا فيه ده؟ المفروض يتعمل شنو؟ وبعد كده تضيف موضوع بتاع الثوره وبعد كده هنتفق معاه.
ايوه حسه ده عشان نحن نقدر نعمل الكلام ده، نحل الاشكاليات الموجوده هسه حاليا. خلي الاس بي ال ام خلي الاس بي ال ام يعمل مؤتمر عام. انا هسه سمعت انه هونربل دينغ لور جا هنا في امريكا وماشي هسه يقعد مع باغان يومين عشان يقنع باغان يرجع وين؟ يرجع جنوب السودان. موجود كويس. يمشي جنوب السودان ويمشي يعمل ريفورم للاس بي ال ام وينادوا مؤتمر عام. انا وصيتي لهم عملوا مؤتمر عام بتاع الاس بي ال ام، عملوا ريكونسيليشن within the SPLM كويس. عملوا يعني افيدوا المواطن انه المشكله اللي كان حصل ده كان مشكله بتاع شنو كويس، ووعدوا انه الحاجه دي المفروض ثاني ما تتكرر، لانه المشكله دي كانت في مؤسسه الحزب وانتقلت وشملت كل الدوله، حتى في ناس فقدوا ارواحهم والناس تتشرد. يعملوا المؤتمر العام بتاعهم ده كويس ويخرجوا بتوصيات حقيقيه، توصيات الناس بانه الناس ما ترجع ثاني للحرب كويس، ويعملوا فك الارتباط بين المؤسسه الحزبيه والمؤسسه العسكريه عشان ثاني ما يكون في يعني اي زول يكون عنده جوب ديسكريبشن. يعني ما ممكن زول يكون جنرال في الاس بي ال اي عنده جوب ديسكريبشن في الجيش ويجي يكون برضه قاعد في المؤسسه الحزبيه عنده جوب ديسكريبشن ويكون نفس الوقت وزير عنده جوب ديسكريبشن. الحاجات الثلاثه ده كله انت ما بتقدر له يا كومراد. هو شغل واحد، مرات الواحد لما راسه ذاته خلاص يعني بيكون هناك. الحاجات دي يعملوها يا جماعه، لانه الحاجه اللي بيحصل في اس بي ال ام، لو اس بي ال ام ده ماشي كويس الدوله بتمشي كويس. انت حزب عندك قاعده جماهيريه وعندك جماهير كويس، انت اعمل اصلاح داخل المؤسسه بتاع الحزب وخلي حتى الاختيار بتاعت الممثلين بتاعينك في الوزارات وفي الخدمه المدنيه وفي النقابات كويس، يكون يا اخي ناس مؤهلين واصحاب الشأن اللي بيمشوا شنو يعملوا الكلام ده. عملوا ريفورم داخل الحزب، والعناصر بتاع المؤتمر الوطني القاعدين هسه حاليا يجب اعاده هيكلتهم. انت انضميت سنه كم؟ لازم ترجع في مكانك الطبيعي. فما ممكن انت تنضم اول امبارح وانا اللي انضميت سنه 98 تيجي تكون انت above me في التنظيم. كلام زي ده ما بيحصل. كويس. سو تو افويد الحاجات الحاصله دي كله، الناس دي تعمل المؤتمر ده، المؤتمر يكون ناجح. كويس.
or unless the SPLM party must adopt system that primary election. لو هم شايفين they are very competitors instead مثلا الناس يجيبوا في الصف، لانه يمكن اي زول يجيب في الصف، همار ده يمكن يجيب في الصف ويقول لما الدور بتاعه يجي يقول ده ما دوري، despite that انا همار I have to get my turn, right? لكن هم لو يختاروا السيستم بتاع primary election، يعني for instance in northern Barkazal if I am interested انا لو member بتاع SPLM party okay في بوزيشن هناك ظهر ونحن كلنا من SPLM we can compete عشان نشوف الحزب هيختار مين ولا المواطنين التابعين للحزب هيختار مين عشان نمشي to contest for that position, to contest for governor or to contest for parliament or to contest whatever. That's a good system actually. Will avoid a lot of collusion within the party, within the حزب. ده النظام المتابع أسف.
كلامك صح.
يعني نحن بنمشي في primary election نجيب انا جونكور يا كان عضو بتاع SPLM اوكي في بوزيشن بتاع جفرنر في نورثern باركازال I want to be a governor. نعمل competition داخل الحزب ده مع المواطنين بتاعيننا يصوتوني قال يا اخي جونكور ده هيمشي يجيب لنا عشان يكون لنا هنا ده ممثل بتاعنا based on merit, based on what he can offer. خلاص they can avoid that. instead مثلا يقول زول جاوا امبارح وفي زول جاوا امبارح وزول جاوا امبارح يجيبوه نادى هيخرخروا هيقول يا اخي ده جاوا امبارح. لكن انت لو عندك سيستم بتاع برايمري based on capability ما بكون في اي مشكله. But the question is the SPLM party is willing to reform itself? هل عندهم will هم راضيين انه يعملوا reform themselves عشان يكون في transparency and fairness within their party عشان ما يكون في مشكله. لان الخرخره كلها زي ما قلت بدات في SPLM party ومشت كلها في الدوله لان المواطنين بتاعيننا ما عارفين الفرق بين الحزب والدوله والرئيس كلهم ملخبطين حاجه واحد. هم شوفوا SPLM ده هو دوله ذات. شوفوا كنا عملوا مؤتمر في لبنان SPLM party and they are still using the flag of the country as their own flag. المفروض كان they supposed طالما الحزب تنازل بانه العلم بتاع الحركه الشعبيه كان اداه للدوله جنوب السودان which is دوله فيه احزاب كثير وفي ناس ما عندها احزاب. المفروض they should not you know have that flag anymore. المفروض they can create any other flag لان الفلاج ده بقى national بقى بتاع الدوله كلها. لكن الان لسه بريزيدنت كيري وانيجا انا شايفهم العالم لسه ما زال علم بتاع SPLM ما زال علم بتاع SPLM. What is that? They have to have that will to reform themselves. But if they are not, how are we gonna go? Go ahead, my brother, so you can conclude.
الموضوع بتاع الاصلاح بتاع الحزب ده نحن طبعا الموضوع ده هنخليه في يدهم هسه لانه دي الفرصه الاخيره باي ذا واي. let them reform the SPLM because حتى الاحزاب الاخرى حتى الجماهير تعيد الثقه في حكام بتاعنا سواء كان داخل ال SPLM او في الاحزاب الاخرى. الشيء اللي انا عايز اكرره دائما انه المؤسسه بتاعت ال SPLM انت ذكرت موضوع مهم جدا بالذات الموضوع بتاع العلم ده. السبب انا قاعد نقول لك مفروض ال SPLM يعمل فك ارتباط بمسؤولياته، مثلا يفك الارتباط بالمؤسسه العسكريه والمؤسسه الدستوريه زي ما قال اخوي مومو قبل شويه. فك الارتباط مع الناس دي. اعمل اوكي لو انت تنازلت للعلم ده يكون علم جنوب السودان خلاص اعمل لك شعار ثاني.
يس خليها
كون عندك شعار منفصل كويس. والشعار ده ذاته حتى الشعار العلم هسه بتاع جنوب السودان هسه ده بالمناسبه العلم ما يتعرض للنقاش. النشيد القومي اتعرض للجنه كويس. وعندك الشعار بتاع الصقر بتاع راس الجمهوريه اتعرض للجنه ما عدا شنو؟ ما عدا العلم. سو الحاجات دي نحن بنجيها تاني لكن دي تكون من ضمن توصياتنا برضو للمؤتمر بتاع SPLM في حاله انه في اي وقت يقرروا. وانا بشوف انه لازم هم يعملوا مؤتمر بتاع SPLM يتفقوا فيما بيناتهم يرجع محله والناس كلها تشتغل مع بعض ونفتح صفحه جديده. ده بيكون الحل. لكن لو خلينا كل شيء مفتوح زي ده ما ينفع. ووصيتي لهم العناصر بتاع المؤتمر الوطني اللي انتم دخلتوهم يوم 7/7/2011 ديل هم اللي شتتوا الحزب وخلوا الحزب ده بقى شنو زي راكوبة الخريف. الناس ديل لازم يتحيكلوا. نحن ما بنطرد زول في SPLM ما بنطرد زول لكن لازم يتحيكلوا يجوا بورانا الناس ديل. انا زي ناس رياك جاي كوك ما ممكن انت تكون زول منشار تاكل في الشمال وتجي تاكل في الجنوب يا اخوان. الكلام ده كيف نحن نقعد نتفرج يعني؟ نحن هنقود 200 هسه يا جونكور، نحن هسه في الأربعينات هنقود 200 هنبقى قيادات الصف الأول في جنوب السودان، سواء كان على مستوى الحزب، سواء كان على مستوى الدولة، سواء كان على ها؟
You have to be a good boy.
ده
ده الاستراتيجية.
ده أنا لو كنت عايز أكون
Yeah, you have to listen to them. You have to obey them, whether they are wrong, they are right. You have to say yes, you are right, Mr. President, Mr. Wazir, Mr. Ilan, وهكذا. لكن الزول عنده independent thinker like myself. No. I cannot put up with that because actually we fought for justice, liberty, prosperity. نقول الزول ده جل قلادة. هم بيقولوا كده كل جل ده قلادة. لكن أنا ما جل at the end of the day I have to.
عشان كده بتلقى انه يعني حتى المصطلح بتاع الديمقراطيه يا اخي جونكور، مصطلح بتاع الديمقراطيه ده مصطلح بتاع الديمقراطيه هسه يعني بقى مجرد كلمه هم بيتكلموا به بس، لكن لما نيجي وقت الجد ما بيقبل كده. شوف الخرخره اللي حصل هسه في الخرخره اللي حصل هسه في حركه الناس سوا ديل. هم قالوا يا اخي نمشي للديمقراطيه، بعد شويه لما مشوا للديمقراطيه ما قدر يطلع شنو النتائج بتاع الديمقراطيه. زول بقى مخرخر. الاس بي ال ام كان بيقولوا فعلا صح نحن ناس في الديمقراطيه. لما جاء موضوع انه يا اخي البند اللي بيقول يا اخي الناس يعملوا تصويت والتصويت يكون سري كويس، التصويت يكون سري ده انا قاعد نقول للناس كثير ده هو انتوا ده هو اللي جاب مشكله. في ناس قاعدين يقولوا هسه في ناس بيقولوا هسه قال مشكله حصل في اس بي ال ام ده اللي عنده الفقير كان داير يحاسب ال 70 المجرمين ال 70 صح؟ نو ما ممكن، ما ده ما هو المشكله. الناس تشوف الجوهر، لانه كان في اتجاه انه يا اخي داخل الحزب الناس تعمل انتخابات والتصويت يكون سري. في ناس بيقولوا لا تصويت سري ده نحن ما دايرين، ترفع يدينك عشان يشوفوك انت صوتت لمنو وما صوتت لمنو. في ناس ما عايزين الكلام زي ده كويس. في الختام اخوي انا الحلقه جميل جدا. عايز انوه للناس زي الثوره الحاصل في السودان هسه حاليا. ده اكزامبل، ذات از ا جود اكزامبل نحن وي هاف تو ليرن على مستوى الحزبي. يعني هسه شوف المؤتمر الوطني هو الحزب الحاكم في السودان كويس، وهو نفسه هو الحزب الماسك المؤسسه العسكريه في البلد كويس. الحزب الماسك المؤسسه العسكريه في البلد هو المؤتمر الوطني. الناس نزلت الشارع وعملت شنو؟ لازم في النهايه الحاجه دي هتجي من وين؟ من داخل هذه المؤسسه. واخر معلومات اللي هسه انا لقيتها انه خلاص هم خلاص وصلوا لشبه اتفاق انه البشير يتنحى، بس هم دارين دوله بس يدون فاينانس ما لاقين. لانه في ناس قاعدين في الشارع هسه، في ناس هسه في الشارع السوداني ما عندهم علاقه بالحاجات الكثيره اللي هم قاعدين يقولوا ده. في ناس قاعدين في الشارع بس دارين ياكلوا، في ناس دارين ياكلوا، دارين عيش في الفرن ما في كويس. العيش في الفرن ما في، الناس دي نزلوا الشارع. طيب انت الناس دي هترجعوا بشنو بعدين؟ في ناس ممكن يرجعوا كويس، في ناس ممكن يرجعوا بيوتهم في حالة انه البشير مشى واي حاجه. لكن الزول اللي بيجي بعد البشير ده لو ما وفر العيش في الافران ما بيمرقوا الناس ديل، ما بيرجعوا بيوتهم. الثوره هتستمر. هسه اخر كلام اللي احنا لقيناه انه يا اخي البشير سيتنحى، لكن بقوا مشكله انه دايرين الدوله يديهم قروش، سواء كان سعوديه او قطر ولا ولا روسيا. الزول اللي بيديهم قروش بعد ذاك عشان هم يقدروا شنو الزول اللي يجي بعد
لكن هيجيبوا مين؟ هيجيبوا كوز؟ هيجيبوا وايت كوز لك بشير ولا هيجيبوا زول غير؟
والله هم في لعبه هم بيطبخوا فيها هسه، انه يا اخي دايرين يعملوا نفس النموذج بتاع مصر، انه يجيبوا كوز مثلا من المؤسسه العسكريه يقول الزول ده استلم كويس، الكوز ده يستلم. طالما هو استلم خلاص نحن هسه وفرنا ده بيخفف المشكله نوعا ما كويس، بيخلي الناس اللي في الشارع ده اللي يقلوا، لكن المشكله هتكون قائمه طالما انه هو ده كوزي او هيجي كويس. دي هو هنا. انا في هسه حاليا عندنا ذاته في الجنوبيين هسه بالمناسبه موضوع الثوره في السودان بقوا منقسمين. في ناس بيقولوا يا اخي والله يا اخي عمر البشير ده لو مشى معناها السلام بتاع جنوب السودان بيخرب كيف؟ هو السلام ده كان بضمان بتاعه ما يقعد، يعني ده ما كان يقعد يعمل الإله ده. في ناس بيقولوا كلام لو اثبتوا انه فعلا صح ده ما كان قاعد يعمل الوساطه دي، معناه احنا كلنا مغشوشين يا جماعه، صح؟ كلنا مغشوشين. اذا كان اصلا بيقولوا بشير ده لو مشى السلام بتاعنا هيخرب وسي بي اي هيخرب، ها؟ معناه احنا مغشوشين، ما عندنا ضامن تاني غيره. فانا عايز الناس تصحح المفاهيم بتاعه، لانه دي حاجات ان احنا نتمنى انه هنتكلم فيها بتفاصيل في وقت اخر. وانا بشكرك كثير اخي، لو عندك اي سؤال انا ممكن اجاوب عليه.
My dear Azul Kabir, you know, good analysis. Thank you for being honest. لأنه honesty أو خلينا برا من البلاوي اللي أنا فيها دي كلها. Honesty أو أنا برا. So شكرا my brother and stick around. لو عندك أي موضوع تاني we may bring you back. شكرا.
الله يبارك فيك. شكرا.
أنتوا سمعتوا زول كبير يتكلم، كثيرين يتكلموا. زي ما قلنا. You know what? What goes around, come around. And how long we have been talking for the last 2 years? Yeah, Jama, you do right thing, it will be pay back. Like if you want to make a shortcut, girl, I just want to make a little bit of distraction. Nothing, mama, I mean, I can do it this way. It's not gonna work, and that's why we are trapped, and that's why our country is trapped. Amal Arusha, Manafa. اتفاقية الأول 2015 ما نفع. جاء عملوا violate in 2016. عملوا صلاة يوم الصلاة الوطني ما نفع. عملوا national dialogue وأنا كنت قاعد أتكلم من ضمن الناس. I was so critical about national dialogue. أنا قلت this is a phony baloney because it's just consumption of time, because they want to buy time. I knew it. Now another come بيقول لي Jongkor, give it a chance, keep quiet, national dialogue the only solution. يا أخي أنت مالك عمل إزعاج وناشونال dialogue ده بيجيب سلام ويا بيجيب استقرار والشعب لازم يعمل dialogue. ونفسه أنا قاعد أقول لهم الشعب جنوب السودان ما عنده مشكلة، لا نويراوي عنده مشكلة مع دينكاوي، لا تبوساوي عنده مشكلة مع شركاوي، لا مين الناس زي الإدارة القيادة العليا الإدارة اللي هو SPLM party they are the one that created problem وجروا للناس عشان to make people fight so they can remain in power. وكمان هم نسوا ذاتهم المؤسسة بتاعت الحزبية لجأوا لشغل individualism وجابوا مؤتمر وطني اللي كانوا في خرطوم and they divide themselves عشان to be in charge. انتوا سمعتوا كلام الشباب قالوا كده raise hand. ده جاب مشكلة داخل المؤسسة بتاع الحركة الشعبية. لأن President Kiir no we don't need secret ballot. But people may argue it. Why don't you want secret ballot? ليه انت ما داير زول يمشي خلف الستار ويمشي يصوت لزول داير يصوت له من غير ما انت تعرف ومن غير ما اعلان يعرف ومن غير ما فلان يعرف؟ ليه؟ Is it just simple because you like raising hand? No. What it is? Referendum بتاع جنوب السودان, the most credible election, the most credible referendum all over the world. It was عن طريق سري, secret ballot. You go there and lift sitara and then you vote. Nobody knows. Your wife doesn't know, your mother doesn't know, your sister doesn't know, your father doesn't. Nobody knows unless you have to tell them. Inti have to go ana jada le separation or ana jada le weda. You the one that will tell. But why don't you want people to exercise the real democracy within your political organization? داخل الحزب, داخل SPLM. شفت أنا يوم ده كنت أنا أقول زول ده بوديكن ده is the problem وناس ما قاعدين يصدقوني. Now people are coming to their senses. كل ما تعملونه في الظلام بيظهر في النور. بيظهر في النور. بيظهر في النور. شفتها؟ هنا قلنا زمان أبو ديكن ده is a problem. not oh زول أبونا وزول مسكين ولا زول is a good guy, but people around him. Who is around him? أنا الليلة ده أنا Jongkor الليلة. The people around me, they are trying to eat left, right. They want to do destruction and we go, get the hell out here. Get the hell out, because I care about my what? About my legacy. I fought for 38 years. President Kiir هارب من 38 سنة في نيانيوان وفي حرب التحرير. كان ضابط صغير. ليه؟ For justice, liberty, prosperity. رئيس كير هارب بس من أجل 3 values. 3 values. What happened to these 3 values? انت عندك guts, عندك ايمان, عندك ايمان انك تحارب من اجل 3 ديل. ليه في ناس يجي وراك يقول لك ما تعمل كده يا مستر بريزيدنت, ما تعمل كده يا مستر بريزيدنت. Or when you say that, oh, President Kiir is the only man, لو هو مشى ولا هو في تغيير, لا يا اخي انا ما دايرين ولا ما ضروري ذات جيب زول دنكاو ده جيب زول دنكاو. لو مثلا هو جالس يكون دنكاو يكون من SPLM, جيب زول you know بيقدر بيعمل نظام.
Junubin muwafiqin, zaman da kullu muwafiqin. They are begging you. We need somebody who can do job. Somebody who can unite people. Somebody who can build infrastructure. Somebody who can build hospital, can build a school, can bring people together so we can restore the trust that had been lost. That's what it is. Actually, our show today is evaluation of everything. But I am glad South Sudanese are start realizing where the problem is started. Lana Kazabona, Uganda del Gadini Biu Bellet, Udel Gadin America nak. Somebody sitting in the West and bagging on the social media, making noise. That Wagatin told me that when we went to Canada, when I was in a conference in Canada, in Alberta, I spoke boldly, very strong. You don't know what's going on in the country. We know what's going on in the country. We know what's going on in the country. What's going on in the country. Amal the national dialogue, didn't work. Amal the Chunu didn't work. You go around, didn't work. Asah was sah. Lamatama la sahda, who was they knew, they lied. You see this light now? It's clear. You can see me clear. I'm here. You can see me clear. Like if you're trying to maneuver around, God, no, I don't want to do it this way. I want to do it this way so I can distract them, so I can stay. It's still going to come back on you. وزي ما حصل الدكتاتورين اللي حكموا العالم كله زارت الرشا غدافي صدام حسين فيدل كاسترو هوغو شافيز بتاع Argentina. All this, you can have enough, you can have as long as enough time. You can do whatever. You can kill them, you can yell them. Jawel Ahmed. Like, you know what? Our late Dr. John Garanga taught us the good lesson. Gal Zaman Beji. And those Shabda, they will drive you to the sea, even though there is no sea there. And that's what happened now to al-Bashir. 30 sana, قسم الشعب وأعلن الجهاد ديل كفار وإنت لو مشيت جنوب السودان ولو مت هتلقى بنات الهور 7 في جنة. Okay? You will get those because they're kuffar. لو قتلتم ما تمشي جنة. دكتور جونغر قال لهم شنو؟ إذا كانت الجنات تبر عبر جنوب السودان لما وجدتمونها هنا. ما كنا نكون هناك لو كان طريق للجنة بيمر عن جنوب السودان. إحنا كنا زمان أول ناس مشينا. What a statement. الكلام اللي هو قاله كله جاء طلع حقيقة. الآن لازم يكون عندهم ضمير. القادة بتاع الحركة الشعبية. SPLM party لازم يكون عندهم شوية ضمير. وده كلامنا قاعد نقوله كل يوم. يا أخي we don't need any position. I don't need to be a commissioner. I don't need to be a minister. I don't need to be any kabaseba. But we want to see peace and stability in our country. لأن نحن هربنا من الvalues إنه يكون في عدالة، حرية، مساواة، يكون في تنمية. عشان الناس اللي كان أنت بتاكل غنم بتاعهم وبقر بتاعهم وجداد بتاعهم وشريف بتاعهم وبافرة بتاعهم at least can get that payback. And then they can have that joy. We go, this is the goodness of my country. You don't have to give them nothing, but they need security. So they can produce, so they can cultivate, so they can do what they need to do. That's what they needed. They don't want you to distribute them money. ما عايزينك تقسم له قروش ولا زورة ولا حاجة دي. دايرين يكون في security. لأن South Sudanese are very smart. They can work. They can find their way out. لكن لا. أنا وريتكم بالنظرية بتاع موسفيني. You know what? You are coming from those, you can stay in power, and a lot of hyenas حول جنوب السودان, they are not going to go to grow. إلا يكون رجل زي ما قال الفنان دين فنان. قال السودان الزول اللي بيكون رئيس للسودان ما زول اللي بيحب نفسه وما زول اللي بياكل براو وما زول الحسود وما زول مثلا بيعين بيته ولا لأخوه ولا لخاله ولا لولد عمته ولا لفلان وفلان. لأن لو مشينا President Kiir the ambassador to Sudan ودأخته, مستشار الحكم المحلي ودخلته, والحول ديلك أولاد أمامه, وهكذا. He listened to me. He did not challenge me as well. Challenge. Oh, that's the guy. That's the right guy for the position. But what have we learned, my dear brothers and sisters? What they have learned. What went wrong? And what have we learned? And how we can salvage to get out of this mess. Learn at the end of the day, we are human. We have a brain. we have eye, we have hand. Okay? There is a reason في حاجات ربنا خلقه للإنسان. عيون عشان يشوف. Tongue to taste. Nose to smell. Hand to touch. You touch the temperature. لو حاجة ده سخن, no, I cannot do it. It smell bad, go different direction. It's not good for sight, I should not look for that. Let's do this. You don't have that sense. You don't have that sense. Ya Junubin, ya Qadam, ya leader to SPLM. You don't have that sense. Everybody have that sense. If things are going wrong, you should sit down and say, please, we have been doing it wrong all along, since 2005. But this is the time to turn the page and open a new chapter, you know, and build future for my children, for their children, for the country's children. Not only just being selfish, I will take my kids to Zimbabwe, I will take them to Australia, Adelaide, I will take them to UK, I will take them. But you know what? Hell, let them go to hell. But those are not values that you fought for. Values بتاعنا عارفينه. انت حاربت من أجل equality, marginalization, and so forth. But I am glad though, our people there start realizing where the problem is started. Just by raise of hand and secret ballot. And then if you think raise of hand was the good thing, why you did not advocate for raise of hand on the time of referendum? You knew it is not going to work, but this is the real democracy. عشان كده أنا قلت ل SPLM party they have problem. I'm not an SPLM anymore. I used to be a SPLM member since I was 13 years old. 13 سنة وأنا قاعد استمع للراديو SPLM بدينكا وبعربي, you know, وبأذى اللغات محلية. I am. حتى يوم ما في واحد من دكور جاء داني كف 3 من بيننا في خرطوم زمن SPLM مسكوا يي. أنا جيت قلت له نحن مسكنا يي. أداني كف. Because I was teasing him. I was so energetic. I was so excited. But they let me down. They let other young South Sudanese down. Our dream of fate. They are not good to represent us. لانعمت قلوبهم بقى عميان فلا يعرفون بين الحق والباطل. لأن الإنسان ما بيشوف بس بالعين المجرد, بيشوف بعقله, بشوف بقلبه. ممكن انت تشوف ده كوبايه عينك يكون على الكوبايه ده, لكن لو راسك somewhere تاني, لو راسك is thinking about, I'm thinking about that girl, بدل الكوبايه ده في عينك انت ما تشوف الكوبايه وحاجه اللي قدامك انت هتدقشه. And that's what it is. They need to go back to their senses and have that feeling. In ya jama, we fought for A and B and C and D, and we are capable to do it. We are truly African. We meant to be different. That's why we fought for 22 years. We didn't fight just to have a country. We fought so we can have justice and liberty and prosperity. We fought so we can be different than Uganda, than Kenya, than Ethiopia, than Sudan. عشان مواطن بتاعنا يكون عنده احتزاز ويمشي مرفوع الراس ويعمل. That's what it is. That's what it's all about. It's not بس عشان نجي نكتب شيكات لأنفسنا ونكون مرتاحين ونمشي هوتيلات and then we can live in the hotel. Leaders can live in the hotels. ومواطنين ماشيين بكريانهم وقاعدين يقتلوا أنفسهم وده يمشي يشيل بقر من ده عشان هو جعان وده يمشي ينهب من ده عشان هو جعان وده يشيل سلاح ويمشي بالليل في بيوت ناس يمشي طق عشان يشيل موبايل من زول ولا يمشي يلقى مرة في ماشي يشيل شنطة منه. خافوا الله. I know you don't have that sense. You don't have that sense of feeling. But I hope so. I hope one day you will have that feeling. And if you have that feeling, something good will happen to this beloved country. احنا تعبنا كتير. الشعب بتاعنا تعب كتير. But I know this is the end of 2018 and we are approaching 2019. Can someone speak to himself, an SPLM leader, and say that Jamai, enough is enough? I know. جوعناكم, شردناكم, قتلناكم, سرقناكم. But this time, just ربنا يلمس قلبه ويقول, we are not going to do this anymore. We have seen your suffer. It is a time, to quit all this thing and just do the right thing. Can someone, can President Kidd do that? Can those leaders of SPLM do that? And instead of fighting for your being there, Zol there go wazir, there go safir, there go commissioner, there go whatever, there go muhafiz the bank, there go director of that custom. Can you feel that this is my country? And the country actually is not when you walk in the red carpet. The country is when the children are being immunization, they are going to school, they are healthy, the women are delivering the baby without dying in hospital because of lack of nutrition, building the road, because the only road that we have, the only road, the lifeline road that in the Nasa, del Banao American. We did not use any oil money to build one single road for the people of South Sudan, to feel that they deserve it. We did not do that. Our leader did not do that. Instead, they are hanging out in hotels. That's what it is. Don't you have that feeling? Are you patriot? Do you love the country? Do you care? If you love the country, if you love the generation, if you care, why don't you have that sense of feeling? Why don't you have that sense of feeling? I hope the year of 2019 will be different in our lifetime, in our children's lifetime. You know what? South Sudanese are smart, and South Sudanese can come out of this, but they require one man. They require one man with an ideology, and that ideology can spread out. And we can sit down with all differences, with all our ethnic background, with all our different political affiliation, and said, we are South Sudanese first. And if we are South Sudanese first, we should care about the people, and we should care about the country. I know it was rough since 2005 all the way to 2018. The Awasim, Ifriqiya, end up Khartoum Peace Agreement. But I know people think this is a jerk, but it's not. Everywhere you go, when you say I'm a South Sudanese, people say, oh, that's a horrible place, isn't it? So we become none of violence. Nas bita mashakil, nas bita kharab, nas bita majaa, nas ma indum qima. Lakini indana qima. We have. Our leaders are the one made us to be like that. But I know that they can reverse this. If they love the country, if they care, they can do this. My dear brothers, I thank you all for being patient and being part of this program. I wish you a happy New Year's, and I hope something good will happen for our beloved country, South Sudan. Let's continue with the spirit of togetherness and love and care. I will say bye-bye for now. You have a wonderful night. Let us come